Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield. Meanwhile, the UN Human Rights Office wants more answers about a weekend Israeli raid that freed 4 as hostages, suggesting that both Israeli forces and Palestinian militants may have committed war crimes. Officials in Gaza say the raid and ensuing battle killed 274 Palestinians. 4 American teachers attacked in China.
The instructors from Iowa's Cornell College were attacked in a public park in Jilin City. The 4 had been teaching at nearby Beihua University. They're now in the hospital being treated for knife wounds, but authorities say none of their lives are at risk. Reports of the incident on social media were quickly censored by Chinese authorities.
Jonathan Savage, America's listening to Fox News.
51 degrees, clear skies. A crisp and cool start to the morning, but the heat is on the way. 5:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. There is a teen now charged in a deadly crash last month in Oak Grove Village. Authorities say the teen was speeding and driving without headlights when the 2-vehicle collision happened May 28 at Meacham and Beesterfield Roads. The crash left Andrea Garcia dead. The teen faces multiple charges. An investigation is underway after a security guard was shot and killed near UIC's campus. Police say Damian Nelson was gunned down early yesterday morning just outside of the B.J. Wright Court Apartments near the Little Italy neighborhood. A 16-year-old boy is wounded following a shooting on Chicago's west side. Police say the victim was standing near the sidewalk yesterday in the 3900 block of West Lexington. No arrests have been made. At least 5 are hospitalized after a midday Monday crash of a CTA bus which slammed into a section of the iconic and recently renovated Ramova Theater and then several buildings and vehicles along the way.
I was up in my apartment and I heard a huge loud crash. It shook the building. I assume it was the bus hitting the building here. As
of Monday evening, it's still not clear if the driver had a medical issue or if a mechanical problem with the bus caused that crash at West 35th and South Halsted. Trial underway for former Illinois basketball player Terrence Shannon Jr. in Douglas County, Kansas. Opening statements are expected today after jury selection took place yesterday. Illinois gun owners continue to await relief from the state's gun and magazine ban as the U.S. Supreme Court again refrained from announcing whether they'd take up legal challenges. AM 560's Greg Bishop reports this morning from Springfield.
Justices held conference Thursday to discuss requests for the panel to take various cases. On Monday's release of the order list, cases challenging Illinois' gun ban on preliminary grounds were not included, meaning they could come up again in another conference this Thursday with a new order list June 17th. Meanwhile, in the Southern District of Illinois Federal Court, Attorney Thomas Magg says litigants continue preparation for a bench trial set for September 16th.
I think the Supreme Court has a good chance of taking it, and I think there's a good chance that if it does, we won't go to trial in September, although we've got to prepare for it as though we are until we know otherwise.
Despite a flurry of lawsuits in federal court, no definitive rulings on the merits have been issued. I'm Greg Bishop.
Illinois banned the sale and possession of certain semi-automatic firearms and magazines over certain capacities in January of 2023. Former President Barack Obama dropping in on the construction of the Obama Presidential Center on Chicago's South Side. The former president visiting the site yesterday in Jackson Park.
Professionalism, the hard work, the willingness to be out here when it's freezing cold.
Yeah. That's right.
The sacrifices all you've made to make this happen is something that I could not be more grateful for and appreciative of.
The former president signed a piece of the building that will be part of the Sky Room ceiling. The complex expected to open in 2026. At 5:05, other news we're following. Federal prosecutors are calling for a 10-year prison sentence for former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke. Federal jury found Burke guilty last December. He's scheduled to be sentenced June 24. Chicago aldermen could vote this week on whether to approve the city's largest police and prosecutorial misconduct settlement ever. $50 million payout was approved by the Finance Committee yesterday, setting up a final vote by the full council tomorrow. Illinois Congressman Darren LaHood revealed in a letter to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security that the Chinese battery manufacturer Gotion now has ties with companies directly linked to slave labor and ongoing genocide of the Uyghurs in China. LaHood says companies like Gotion are committing horrific crimes and are getting American taxpayer money. Echoing LaHood's comments is Amanda Piker, one of many Manteno residents suing Gotion.
Here in America, we should not be giving taxpayer money to people who are using slave labor in their own country.
Meantime, last week, Governor J.B. Pritzker touted Gotion's arrival to Manteno while giving remarks at the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce annual meeting.
Just last year, we attracted two of the largest manufacturing wins, Gotion and Stellantis, in more than 2 decades for the state of Illinois, which will add more than 4,000 manufacturing jobs.
Piker says the governor's actually lying about Gotion bringing jobs to Illinois. Gotion receives tax breaks. In return, all they have to do is provide 150 jobs by 2028. Chicago sports. White Sox blew a 4-run lead late in an 8-4 loss to the Mariners at T-Mobile Park. Jordan Leisure falls to 0-2. Cubs will try to get a winning streak going when they take on Tampa Bay at Tropicana Field tonight. NC State became the last of 8 teams to qualify for the Men's College World Series, which begins Friday with North Carolina taking on Virginia, Tennessee battling Florida State. The rest of the teams go into action Saturday. The second oldest player in the NFL signs a new contract. Veteran tight end Mercedes Lewis set to enter his 19th NFL season, agreeing to a 1-year deal with the Chicago Bears yesterday. The news a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. If your home or business has an insurance claim, Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum isn't sure Biden's message hit home.
Today in Georgia, they won't allow water to be available to you while you wait in line to vote in an election. What in the hell is that all about?
So, black people, it's like you think we live in huts in the middle of a desert somewhere.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
A lot of times people don't understand what a supplement is. A supplement is in addition to your regular foods. It's really just an incredible formula, and I've been doing nutrients for 43 years. It has a tremendous effect on how I feel, my well-being. I love the way it gives me all my supplements for fruits and vegetables, which I take a lot of anyway. But I find that this gives me that supplement that I was missing before.
Time's ticking. Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last, with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Hurry, this week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751. And get this offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. Ever since the October 7 massacres inflamed the radical left in the U.S., Joe Biden has tried to force Israel into compromises that would force them to allow Hamas to survive the war. This week, NBC News reported that Biden now wants to deal with Hamas directly on American hostages and cut Israel out entirely. This abruptly changes months of avoiding the issue of Hamas's American captives. The media has ignored them, and the Biden administration only refers to them when necessary, usually as leverage against Netanyahu's government in Jerusalem. The timing of this trial balloon seems especially suspicious, given the spectacular success of the IDF's hostage rescue operation this past weekend. Western nations have foolishly dispensed with the best policy, that is, never to negotiate with terrorists. Biden takes it all in a particularly malevolent direction, cutting Israel out of the loop while pushing a two-state solution at the UN. Don't miss the broader message. It rewards Hamas for the October 7 massacres. In a word, it's despicable.
It's 5:11. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. In this update, a service of Indeed.com. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Attract, interview, and hire candidates, all from one place. Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website, Indeed.com/credit. Tri-State construction. Big problems with 2 left lanes shut down on the northbound side between the Thornton Quarry and Halstead, south end of the Tri-State. Stevenson roadwork blocking 2 right lanes. Inbound on the Stevenson between the Des Plaines River Bridge and First Avenue. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Terrific day, partly sunny, high today at 77. Clouds, a shower tonight, low 63. Partly sunny, warm day tomorrow, the high 88. A strong thunderstorm on Thursday, could get some hail and damaging wind, the high 89. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Downright chilly in Joliet this morning, 45 degrees, 47 in Waukegan, 49 in Kankakee, 51 at O'Hare, 56 Lakefront. Your next news update, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth.
When the stock market struggles, when inflation is high, you need to start looking through the inventory of all your accounts and say, is every one of these investments working as hard as it could be? Because every month during high inflation that you waste, you're losing 8 or 9% a year.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and our new time at 2 p.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, this is Randy Donnelly from Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois, with my current want list for upcoming auctions. Guns and military items are always at the top of my list, but I have buyers for vintage automobiles and motorcycles, old gas pumps and automotive signs. Do you have pinball machines and coin-operated games like slot machines, jukeboxes? How about Coke machines and soda machines? Also, neon signs, antique phonographs and music boxes, old toys, especially science fiction and Star Wars. Cowboy and Native American collections like barbershop, ice cream parlor, and saloon items. We'll take one item or an entire collection. We sell it all. Call me before you sell your items outright because you could be leaving a fortune on the table. And you won't know until you call me at 815-923-7000 or send me an email at DonnellyAuctions.com. My job is to get you top dollar for your collections, so call me at 815-923-7000. I'm Randy Donnelly, and I'll see you at the auction.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel. Home to the biggest shows on TV, like Sebastian Gorka, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, followed by Stacey Washington at 5. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
Quick delivery service. What do you need delivered today?
Hi, I'm trying to work through a last-minute to-do list for my boss. Can you deliver a hard drive to the Loop in Chicago?
We can deliver that today.
Okay, can you deliver 20 boxes to a client in Rockford?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver 12 pallets of tile to our customer in Naperville?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver a large envelope to Northbrook?
We can deliver that today.
Oh my gosh, I think my water just broke. Can you...
We cannot deliver that.
Quick Delivery Service delivers your package no matter the size. More than just a messenger service, Quick Delivery Service is a messenger and trucking service that can also provide scheduled routes for your daily delivery or your air shipment. Trucks are equipped to handle the load and provide ground-level service for same-day delivery. The Quick Delivery Service team of safe, licensed professionals can provide quick door-to-door service for your special delivery. QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. We deliver that today. But we don't deliver this.
Hi, this is Maria and Diane with the Del Bacchio Marchetti Group of App Properties Christie's International. We wanted to tell you why we placed number 9 in Illinois as the top producing real estate team and number 1 in Arlington Heights.
In the past 9 years, we assisted 1,975 buyers and sellers achieve the American dream of home ownership, selling $720 million in real estate.
If you are considering making a move, we can help you get the most value for your home in today's market.
Maria and I have over 50 years of combined experience. We take a conservative approach in protecting your asset and will give you the direction and professional advice needed to achieve a successful transaction.
Our pledge to you is to have your best interest at heart. So get the special attention you deserve with our white glove service from our city division to the suburbs.
Contact us for a free, no-obligation market analysis at thedmregroup.com. That's thedmregroup.com.
Information verification, MRED LLC, 2013 to 2022. Real Trends Large Teams 2022.
Our communities deserve to have their tax dollars spent efficiently. All over Chicagoland, there is an increased need for vital projects like wetland improvements, enhancing water quality, or stormwater mitigation to protect homes against devastating floods. Too often, public officials find themselves at the mercy of outside advisors when planning, budgeting, and building these projects. And let's face it, they rarely meet deadlines or budgets, leaving our communities vulnerable. There's a better way forward: Control Point Engineering. At Control Point Engineering, we're more than just civil engineers. We're champions of quality and efficiency with over 40 years of hands-on experience. Teaming up with Earthworks Land Development, we're breaking down barriers and streamlining processes. Say goodbye to disjointed partnerships and hello to seamless collaboration. From conceptualization to construction, Control Point Engineering delivers everything you need in one unified package, saving you time and money. Visit ControlPointLLC.com today to learn about our successful projects all across Chicagoland. Again, that's ControlPointLLC.com.
Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, a family-owned restaurant, a Chicago family favorite for over 40 years. Why? Because they're known for sub sandwiches the size of your forearm. No joke. Their 6-inch sub has more meat and cheese in it than any foot-long in an Irish neighborhood. These sandwiches are iconic, famous for their homemade Italian beef, meatballs, burgers, and, of course, delicious Italian subs loaded with mortadella, cabagol, salami, provolone, and their own secret sauce called Love Potion No. 9. This vinegar and oil dressing is famous on its own. Both Augustino's locations boast walls covered in authentic rock and roll memorabilia and artifacts, all celebrating their love for good old-fashioned rock and roll. Augie's is a feast for your eyes and your stomach. Dine in or carry out. Bring the family or the team. Plus, Augie's caters corporate meetings, parties, and celebrations. Don't make it yourself. Make it happen with Augustino's. Go to Augustinos.com for locations and menus. That's Augustinos.com.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. Ever since the October 7 massacres inflamed the radical left in the U.S., Joe Biden has tried to force Israel into compromises that would force them to allow Hamas to survive the war. This week, NBC News reported that Biden now wants to deal with Hamas directly on American hostages and cut Israel out entirely. This abruptly changes months of avoiding the issue of Hamas's American captives. The media has ignored them, and the Biden administration only refers to them when necessary, usually as leverage against Netanyahu's government in Jerusalem. The timing of this trial balloon seems especially suspicious, given the spectacular success of the IDF's hostage rescue operation this past weekend. Western nations have foolishly dispensed with the best policy, that is, never to negotiate with terrorists. Biden takes it all in a particularly malevolent direction, cutting Israel out of the loop while pushing a two-state solution at the UN. Don't miss the broader message. It rewards Hamas for the October 7 massacres. In a word, it's despicable.
Over the years, Eric has built a great company. He's grown his business, increased his client base, and now has multiple locations. But there's one thing that Eric should be concerned about, and that's his network. While Eric's company has grown, his network evolved into a mess and has left him vulnerable to cyber attacks like ransomware that can fold up his business permanently. He thought his basic network that evolved from years ago was enough, but it's not just his server that's at risk. Cyber attacks affect the full infrastructure of a business, right down to customer data, employee devices, and even their smartphones. So Eric came to Turnkey to help protect his business, his team, and his clients. Thanks to Turnkey, Eric's network was overhauled and thoroughly secured, moving forward with real-time threat hunting protection. Turnkey has the solutions to protect your business. Want to build and improve your network? Turnkey can help with cutting-edge IT solutions. Start a conversation today. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So yesterday we talked a bit about the undoing of Biden's executive order before it's even implemented effectively. I mean, we knew it was fraudulent to begin with, but Fox News, I think it was actually the Washington Examiner initially, and then Fox News picked it up, obtained a memo from inside CBP that detailed how the administration's directive to Border Patrol is to release into the country all migrants coming from the Eastern Hemisphere, with the exception of 6 Eastern Bloc countries, basically Russia and its satellites. They're to be released. So what is the point of the setting arbitrary numbers about 1,500 average, so for 7 days before X or 25 before Y? What's the point of this? It's just all window dressing for a policy that continues unabated. Matt Finn, Fox News, was at the border yesterday recounting what was discussed on our show and elsewhere yesterday, and had the opportunity to talk to some of the migrants. It's another one of these interviews.
This is great.
Another one of these interviews, like Malusian interviewing the Turkish guy who said, hey, you guys aren't doing a good job of vetting people coming in here. It says an illegal immigrant.
He said, this is too easy.
Yeah, I'm worried for my safety. Matt Finn caught up with another Turkish migrant.
Meaning all the migrants we are seeing in real time coming from China, Egypt, countries in Africa, they are being released. The internal memo reads in part, Border Patrol agents are ordered to refer to ICE single adults from hard or very hard to remove countries. Those are the 6. All other migrants are processed and released with a notice to appear on their own recognizance. And we've been talking to migrants from all over the world arriving here into the San Diego sector. I talked to one man from Turkey. Here's what he had to say. What do you think of President Biden?
Biden, I love Biden.
Why do you love Biden?
Because Biden we love.
Why do you love him?
Biden helped us.
Thank you, Turkish brick. Turkish man, are you just pointing to things and saying you love them? I love lamp.
Carpet.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. But yeah, no, I understand. What is
he's
our
going to
friend
be
Ralph?
voting someday, so he's going to vote for Biden.
Ralph Van Rantoul, I think, is the one who gave us the phrase Biden buddies. And that's what they are. They're Biden buddies.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
And, if that is not insulting enough, this scam that's being run, that Biden pretending to do something, pretending that he's done something only as a last resort because he couldn't get bipartisan cooperation for open borders policies. And this memo that's leaked now that basically says it's steady as she goes, right?
Nothing's changed.
So now multiple outlets are reporting that the White House is considering a parole-in-place move to apply for illegal immigrant spouses of U.S. citizens. parole in place is already being used in one-year increments for family members of U.S. military members and protects them from deportation, grants them a work permit. New York Times is reporting that the program for spouses could include the ability for some spouses to gain a pathway to citizenship, but those details aren't clear. The parole in place cohort is estimated to be about 1.1 million. 1.1 million spouses of U.S. citizens living in the U.S. illegally. And so now we're just going to grant amnesty. Well, I guess it's under consideration to grant amnesty to that group because, of course, Biden needs to throw a bone to the socialist Spice Girls that are all upset by his fraudulent executive order, which doesn't do anything.
I know. How could they be upset by this?
Well, because
it's not stopping anybody from coming in.
It's performative.
Right.
They're pretending that the executive order has impact because they're, playing to their constituency. Biden is pretending it's real because he's playing to a particular constituency, and now he'll turn around and perhaps grant amnesty for these 1 million spouses living in the country illegally of U.S. citizens living in the country illegally. And then you say, well, and then the socialist Spice Girls can go back to their constituency. The rest of the open borders crowd go back to their constituency. Say, well, we got this concession. And all the while, all you're doing is setting up the predicate for more cohorts of illegal immigrants to get amnesty without doing anything for border security. It's really sort of genius if you're diabolical,
I gotta
which
tell
they
you,
are.
Guess, welcome to the party, NBC Nightly News. I don't know if you've heard about this, Dan. There's some Venezuelans who are part of the Tren de Aragua gang. I mean, we've only been talking about it here for how long? A year? Maybe 2 years? And
yeah.
They act like breaking news. You just hear a bit of this. Oh. Okay.
Tonight, the new warning from law enforcement that among the record number of migrants that have crossed into the U.S. are members of a Venezuelan street gang. NBC News learning there are more than 100 Homeland Security investigations involving suspected members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, according to 2 DHS officials. In the past week, the NYPD...
Can you believe? This was leading the news like, there's this new thing, this gang from Venezuela. I don't know. They only shot at 2 police officers last week, so maybe that's why they're catching on to what's really going on.
The D.C. press corps only reports reality as an absolute last resort.
Yep.
Realities, uncomfortable realities, inconvenient truths, to borrow a phrase from Al Gore.
Yeah, they don't want Biden to look bad.
One other point of order on the border. We've got insurance companies now registering illegal immigrants for free health care at the border. You might as well just go ahead and have them fill out their voter registration form too.
Exactly.
The company Guasur Insurance, based in Miami, but they're in San Antonio, and there's video of them, I guess agents, interacting with illegal immigrants to sign them up for Obamacare. I hope it's the goal plan. I mean, come on. I don't want them to protest like they protest over the quality of the food they're receiving or the quality of the lodging they're receiving.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Nature is quite the artist, wouldn't you agree? The pigments that nature uses to paint its fruits and vegetables aren't there just for visual appeal. Those colorings are also essential to our nutrition. Hi, my name is Vincent Clemens, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist. I found that the vast majority of my clients rarely got enough servings of fruits and vegetables. Balance of Nature dietary supplements can provide more of the concentrated fruit and vegetable ingredients and these pigments. Please remember that consuming a balanced diet should be your first priority in improving your health. Nonetheless, if you're considering a nutritional supplement, then I highly recommend Balance of Nature.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last as a preferred customer by using discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Nancy Pelosi says, I take responsibility for January 6th at 5:38.
And really starting to worry about the future of Utah. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
It's 5:31, 50 degrees, 45 out in Aurora this morning. Soldiers and police officers, forest rangers, and others are searching for a missing military plane carrying Malawi's vice president, former first lady, and 8 others. It's suspected this morning to have crashed in a mountainous region in that country. 4 American college professors are in a Chinese hospital. Fox's Jonathan Savage explains why.
The instructors from Iowa's Cornell College were attacked in a public park in Jilin City. The 4 had been teaching at nearby Beihua University. They're now in the hospital being treated for knife wounds, but authorities say none of their lives are at risk. Reports of the incident on social media were quickly censored by Chinese authorities. The State Department says it's aware and is monitoring. According to its website, Beihua University pays for American professors to visit to help students learn English and gain an international perspective on their studies. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Hunter Biden's federal firearms case is in the hands of a Delaware jury. The UN Security Council is approving a U.S.-drafted ceasefire deal aimed at stopping the fighting between Israel and Hamas terrorists. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the ball is now in Hamas's court.
It is on Hamas to move forward with this proposal or not.
Insiders leak news that Israel may accept the proposal that would require the release of some hostages. South Korea's military says South Korean soldiers fired warning shots after North Korean troops violated the 2 countries' land border earlier this week. This morning, UAW President Shawn Fain is under investigation for allegations that he abused his power as a union president. A watchdog appointed by the federal court is looking into Fain. A teen is charged in a deadly crash last month in Oak Grove Village. Authorities say the teen was speeding and driving without headlights when the 2-vehicle collision happened May 28th at the intersection of Meacham and Biesterfield Roads. At least 5 were hospitalized around midday Monday when the driver of a CTA bus slammed into a section of the iconic and recently renovated Ramova Theater and then into several vehicles.
I was up in my apartment and I heard a huge loud crash. It shook the building. I assume it was the bus hitting the building here.
The bus had a mechanical problem, according to witnesses, at West 35th Street and South Halsted in the Bridgeport neighborhood. Federal prosecutors are calling for a 10-year prison sentence for former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke. Prosecutors argued for the prison term in court in memos filed yesterday saying Burke abused and exploited his office. School officials are choosing to close the only bilingual school in Evanston.
I grew up in a very small town with not a lot of diversity. My brothers and I being the only children of color of Hispanic descent. And my children are allowed to have a space that's safe for them, where they're seeing a lot of other children that are just like them.
The Evanston Skokie School District 65 board voted last night to shut down the Dr. Bessie Rhodes School of Global Studies in Skokie over the protest of parents, officials citing financial issues and the rapidly declining student enrollment for that school. Well, East Coast favorite Wawa officially broke ground on its first store in Indiana this week. The privately held chain plans to build a total of 10 gas and convenience stations in Indiana in 2025, with plans to add 8 to 12 stores a year until they reach about 60 stores in the state. Probably the only place in the Midwest where you will get an honest pork roll sandwich. Chicago White Sox blew a late 4-run lead in an 8-4 loss to Seattle. The Cubs will try to get a winning streak going when they visit Tampa Bay at Tropicana Field. Panthers 2 wins away from hoisting their first ever Stanley Cup Florida silenced the Oilers 4-1 in Sunrise to take a 2-0 Stanley Cup final lead. The news service of Blue Star Security. Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you and your business. Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at bluestarsecurityllc.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk knows why Biden wants to debate.
It is now proven that the internal polling in the Biden campaign means he knows he's losing. His own internal tracking is not on pace, and if the election were held today, Joe Biden does not feel good about his chances. There is no other reason.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Our communities deserve to have their tax dollars spent efficiently. All over Chicagoland, there is an increased need for vital projects like wetland improvements, enhancing water quality, or stormwater mitigation to protect homes against devastating floods. Too often, public officials find themselves at the mercy of outside advisors when planning, budgeting, and building these projects. And let's face it, they rarely meet deadlines or budgets, leaving our communities vulnerable. There's a better way forward. Control Point Engineering. At Control Point Engineering, we're more than just civil engineers. We're champions of quality and efficiency with over 40 years of hands-on experience. Teaming up with Earthworks Land Development, we're breaking down barriers and streamlining processes. Say goodbye to disjointed partnerships and hello to seamless collaboration. From conceptualization to construction, Control Point Engineering delivers everything you need in one unified package, saving you time and money. Visit ControlPointLLC.com today to learn about our successful projects all across Chicagoland. Again, that's ControlPointLLC.com.
Hi, I'm Charlie Moon. I've been in the trading game for almost 20 years, and I just discovered the most powerful trading tool I've ever seen. So if you're trading stocks or options, then listen up. This new AI-powered trade finder can find you stocks to consider trading, which have had gains as high as 1,729% and have had nearly perfect win rates. It analyzes the entire stock market in seconds and pumps out a list of trades for you to consider every single morning. And the trades it finds can be potentially profitable regardless of which direction the market is moving. So if you want in on this action, listen closely. For a short amount of time, I'm opening up free access to some of these picks and giving you the chance to get top trade ideas from the AI Trade Finder every day for 100% free. Just text TRADE to 76626. Stop trying to find the right stocks to trade on your own. Just text TRADE to 76626 now and get access to the top trades our AI finds every single day. Text TRADE to 76626. Standard text and data rates may apply. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Text TRADE to 76626.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's promo code EARN.
Let's check the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time will start in northwest Indiana, where I-65 is stop and go between State Road 2 southbound down to 205th, all due to ongoing long-term construction. Dan Ryan slowing up on the south end already this morning. Inbound 95th up through 83rd, you're jammed, and then from 35th up through the Stevenson. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. In the AM 560 Weather Center, we see partly sunny skies, a pleasant day ahead, high 77. Cloudy with a shower overnight, low 63. Partly cloudy and 50 at O'Hare, 53 at Midway, 45 in Aurora. And your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. As we wait with bated breath for the Hunter Biden verdict, we turn our attention to Nancy Pelosi. You remember her. She was the House Speaker.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about her in between facelifts. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
bad.
she's the one, if you can't recall her, because, people's memories fade, politicians go away, and you forget about them, as you should. She's the one who always has the expression on her face like she just flipped on the porch lights and there's a raccoon there. And she's startled.
How old is she?
She's like 120 or so. 45 minutes of video shot by Nancy Pelosi's daughter, Alexandra Pelosi, the documentarian.
Yes.
Was obtained by House GOP investigators. 45 minutes of video related to January 6th. The insurrection they're trying to sell in 2024 to get Biden across the finish line. This is key, right? It's not just Trump, the convicted criminal. It's Trump, the insurrectionist. He led a coup attempt. He tried to overthrow the government. That will continue.
Oh, my God. And I don't know if you heard what Rachel Maddow last night, or she told Reliable Sources newsletter on CNN that she is fearful that Trump is going to put her in a camp, that Trump is going to weaponize the government and throw her and others into camps.
Well, that's what everyone on the left is saying right now.
I mean, come
on. That's what they've been saying. This is their story, and they're sticking to it, regardless of the evidence.
Who's weaponizing the government?
So part of the 45 minutes of video that was obtained by House GOP investigators includes this clip on that day with Nancy Pelosi talking to her chief of staff, Terry McCullough, as after she was evacuated from the Capitol. Take a listen.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
No, that is not a question of how they had been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
I take responsibility for not having them. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I take responsibility for not having them. Well, you should. That's actually what Republicans have been arguing for the last 3 years. You should, because it's your sergeant at arms that has the essentially the responsibility to provide for security in the House, and Mitch McConnell, sergeant of arms in the Senate. That's what we keep saying. What was the interaction? We keep asking the question. We've been asking the question for 3 years. What were the interactions? We've heard from Stephen Son, the Capitol Police chief at the time, extensively. He's given his version of events from the conversations he had and the decisions that were made. And frankly, it's interesting. I haven't heard Stephen Son's characterization of that day and the conversations he had. I haven't heard it disputed. I haven't heard his recollection disputed, which is interesting. It's just been ignored by the D.C. press corps. Of course it has. Just as this moment will largely be ignored. I take responsibility. Right. Well, you had responsibility. And as we understand it, you were offered the National Guard, or your sergeant at arms was, or your chief of staff was, or the combination of the three of you, and you chose not to. Julie Kelly tweeting up, Pelosi's security chief repeatedly resisted pleas by Capitol Police Chief Sund for National Guardsmen. Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy, who had been in cahoots with Milley before January 6th, did not authorize deployment of D.C. National Guard until after 5 p.m. And that the acting Secretary of Defense, Chris Miller, at the time said, there were miscommunication problems. We know that Milley was talking to Susan Rice, the unmasker of General Flynn, the Obama NSA, and Milley had this sort of messianic complex within the Trump administration. He had to stop Trump. We saw that sort of disclosed effectively in his years of service under Biden, didn't we? I take responsibility. Right. Stephen Son, the Capitol Police Chief, he responded to this video as well. He tweeted out, where do we have Stephen Son here? Pelosi was surprised we didn't have the National Guard on January 6th, ? I was denied National Guard support multiple times before January 6th and repeatedly for 71 minutes on January 6th. My story hasn't changed. Right. It's not just it's not just on that day and talking about the 71 minutes that Sund is referencing. It's the run-up to January 6th. Obviously, the security planning that you would do as the Capitol Police Chief in conjunction with the administration, looping in these respective sergeants at arms, talking to the Department of Defense. And Stephen Sund has laid all that out. He laid all that out for Tucker Carlson more than a year ago. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro line. Kevin, Austin, Texas.
Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Dan. I look forward to, like, Sunday shows doing in-depth interviews with Nancy Pelosi. Maggie Haberman doing a very intensive story about all of this. Just George Stephanopoulos. I just can't wait for the questions that he's going to ask. Because, we all know how the left is going to, really go after the truth on this one. The thing is, they're not, and it's up to people that have to get involved to get, in Illinois, there's an opportunity. Four Republicans can win if people get involved, but it's not going to happen because they're against it.
Thanks for the call, Kevin. Well, to your point, they're already spinning this as a nothing burger. Politico, in their description of the 45 minutes of video that we're referencing and that clip that's part of it, Pelosi appeared, this is Politico's reporting, Pelosi herself appeared frustrated after she left the Capitol, questioning why Capitol security hadn't seemed to adequately plan for the large-scale protests to turn violent. As you heard her say, the new footage does not bolster GOP claims of Pelosi being at fault. Instead, it largely aligns with and adds depth to previous snippets of Alexandra Pelosi's footage released by the January 6th Select Committee. Just a statement. It does not bolster GOP claims of Pelosi being at fault. It just adds depth to it. How's that? Just declarative statements. It doesn't bolster. Why doesn't it? I take responsibility. Her office has responsibility for the security in the chamber, and she's screaming at her chief of staff for their general incompetence at minimum, and the other things that we know. What Stephen Sund has said. This does not bolster claims. The end.
Because I said so.
It's really a neat little trick that they use. They just declare something to either be true or untrue, to be relevant or not relevant, and they don't have to explain themselves. So people say, "Oh, well, Politico said that it does not bolster GOP claims." Oh, okay, well, there you go. Well, that's the end of the conversation, isn't it? Craig in Mount Greenwood.
Oh, hey, good morning. And Amy, thanks for taking my call because on this point, Nancy Pelosi could not get have the National Police come over there and everything, or anybody come over there with law enforcement. She was in the process of producing a insurrection movie. She had her daughter or somebody over there shooting movies and all kinds of crap clips and everything of nonsense, and she didn't want no interference from any kind of outside police or anything. She had her own little goon squad, the brown shirt D.C. police, keeping everything, kind of. The whole thing is unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Thanks for the call, Craig. Stephen Sund, that interview with Tucker Carlson I mentioned, just refreshing your recollection on the 71 minutes.
Where are we on the approval? Where are we on the approval? Just any minute now. Any minute. I'm going to get any minute. Finally at 2:09, 71 minutes later, 2:09, I'm finally given approval. Think about that. 71 minutes later, I immediately call Mike Stinger, say we've got approval. I was so pissed off. I made sure that the watch commander, I'm in the command center, I yelled to John Wisham, the lieutenant, that's my watch commander. I said, John, mark the time as 2:10. I finally got approval for the National Guard. I was that mad.
Yeah, and he also says the Senate in this whole recounting of what happened and then trying to tell the world what happened. Senate committee tried to block testimony from non-active employees. Meaning Sund, the former sergeants at arms, one of whom has passed away, The J6 House Committee, Pelosi was off limits. Sund removed. Intel officer named acting chief. She gets vote of no confidence, so doesn't get the job. Winds up as chief of police for UC Berkeley. I mean, it's how should I say this? The crafting of the explanation for what happened on that day. Trump led an insurrection. All of these moving parts and all of these players and all of the, again, Sund's testimony has not been disputed, not that I've heard. These sworn officers of the law acting in furtherance of providing a secure environment, making sure that the Capitol is secure, both in the planning stage as well as on the day when things started to break apart. And he can't get responses from the Secretary of Defense. He can't get a response from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He's talking about how unusual it was that the feds didn't put out any threat assessment documents in the run-up to January 6th. The 71 minutes you just heard him talking about where he can't get any answers or action out of the responsible parties. So, I mean, to the extent that there was something planned for January 6th, doesn't seem like it was an insurrection. Does it?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
I mean, remember the New Jersey State Police beat the National Guard to the Capitol.
That's right. Even when they were called, it took them forever to get there.
So there's no lines of communication that can get rapid response from the federal government with the military and law enforcement resources under the possession and direction of the federal government? Really? And Trump was the mastermind of all this. What was he doing? Jamming the phone lines between Sund and Miller and Milley and McCarthy?
Remember they made up that lie that he grabbed the steering wheel of the beast and tried to go to the Capitol to be with his people. That was a lie.
Bob in Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Always good talking to you. I'm a bit confused about the security at the Capitol. The people, the protesters gathered on the west side where they were gassed, but then some of the protesters walked around the building and went up to the grand entrance on the east side and just walked into the building. Nobody stopped them. What's going on with the security? They walked right in.
Right. The escorting back and forth. It was
very bizarre.
It was chaotic, to say the least, but this all could have been avoided, says Capitol Police Chief Stephen Sund.
This didn't have to happen. This was screwed up from the get-go. Didn't have to happen. Numerous opportunities to prevent it from happening. Numerous opportunities from preventing my men and women from going through what they had to, and it never happened. There was never that opportunity to stop that train.
Screwed up from the beginning. That seems to me the most plausible explanation. But what is completely implausible, completely evidence-free, is a planned insurrection.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Are you a driver of a Ford Power Stroke diesel engine? Tired of taking your Ford Power Stroke diesel in to be misdiagnosed or paying for repairs that don't fix the problem? Well, bring your vehicle to the diesel headquarters, Remke's Garage. The shop is equipped with state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment and highly trained technicians. Take it to the experts. Take it to Remke's Garage. Remke's Garage specializes in Ford Power Stroke, Chevy Duramax, Dodge Cummins, Mercedes Sprinter, and Isuzu diesel engines and transmission repairs. At Remke's, they'll make your vehicle repairs convenient by offering a free commercial loaner vehicle.
Remke's Garage, where you won't spend $1,000 to fix a $100 problem. Call for details and to schedule an appointment at 800-5-REMKES or visit Remke'sGarage.com. Remke's Garage, your diesel headquarters.
One of the most important decisions you can make as a parent is where you send your kids to school. But these days, it's never been harder to know which school is best. Public schools have changed a lot, and you might be thinking about sending your child to a private Christian school. But you also know that private school can be expensive, and in this economy, you might think it's not an option. Well, think again. With halfpriceschools.com, you can purchase tuition vouchers for half the price of normal tuition for private schools. For nearly 10 years, halfpriceschools.com has helped families from all over Chicagoland make the dream of private school a reality. And that can be the reality for you and your child, too. Just go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a private Christian school near you, and purchase a voucher. It's that easy. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Donna. I love gardening. I love to go on walks with my husband and my dog, and I love taking Balance of Nature. It makes me feel sparkly every single day. It's just an amazing product. I'm 56, but I feel 21. I feel so much alive. Balance of Nature is magic in a bottle, and I really love it.
Time's ticking. Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last. Hurry, this week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 Golf Outing presented by Signature Bank. And this year, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responders and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Wednesday, June 19th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing package, which includes 25 one-minute commercials between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. and a free digital marketing analysis. And we also have twosomes available in addition to foursomes. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Control Point Engineering, Waukegan Roofing, and by Crosscom Public Adjusters.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Brandon Tatum weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, followed by Charlie Kirk at 7. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free, now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Sex education at a Winnetka grade school, 606.
Oh, God. All right, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Trial is underway for Terrence Shannon Jr. in Kansas. The former president, Barack Obama, visits his presidential center site. Prosecutors are calling for a 10-year prison sentence for Ed Burke and a former Madigan ally set to report to prison today. A security guard is killed near the UIC campus, a teen wounded in a West Side shooting, and Illinois launching expanding care. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Will there be a Hunter Biden verdict today? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The jury will deliberate a second day at the president's son's federal gun trial.
After hearing an afternoon of closing statements and arguments, prosecutors told jurors there's overwhelming evidence against Hunter Biden and accused him of using drugs, lying about it on a federal form to buy a gun, and then illegally owning and possessing that weapon for 11 days, all in October of 2018.
Fox's Rich Edson outside the court in Wilmington, Delaware. President Biden hosted a concert at the White House celebrating Juneteenth a week early, the holiday marking the end of slavery.
Folks,
Black history is American history.
The president warned about old ghosts and new clothes, seemingly referencing his Republican rival as polls show more black voters considering being Trump supporters. The former president met virtually in a video call with a New York probation officer a month before he's sentenced in a criminal case he calls a hoax, political targeting. In the classified documents case,
former President Trump and 2 of his associates challenging a half dozen of the 41 counts in the indictment, including counts related to obstruction and false statements. A U.S. district judge denying the request. The former president is accused of illegally obtaining classified documents from his time at the White House and of conspiring with co-defendants, including a Mar-a-Lago property manager, to conceal the files from federal officials.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. The UN is suggesting Israeli forces may have committed war crimes in the weekend raid that freed 4 hostages from Hamas. Officials in Gaza say 274 Palestinians were killed. The UN believes Palestinian militants may have also committed war crimes. This after the UN Security Council approved a ceasefire resolution. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's in Israel.
It is on Hamas to move forward with this proposal or not.
They're mourning in the African nation of Malawi, where they've found the wreckage of a plane carrying Malawi's vice president, killed along with 9 others on board. America's listening to Fox News.
50 degrees. At 6:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A teen is charged in a deadly crash last month in Elk Grove Village. Authorities say the teen was speeding and driving without headlights when the 2-vehicle collision happened May 28th. The crash left Andrea Garcia dead. The longtime chief of staff for former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan is scheduled to report to a federal prison today. Tim Mapes is required to surrender to the Bureau of Prisons before noon. He is requested to serve his term at a facility in Pensacola, Florida. A 16-year-old boy is wounded following a shooting on the west side. It happened yesterday in the 3900 block of West Lexington. No arrests were made. 5 were hospitalized around midday Monday when the driver of a CTA bus slammed into the recently renovated Ramova Theater and then several vehicles.
I was up in my apartment and I heard a huge loud crash. It shook the building. I assume it was the bus hitting the building here.
As of Monday evening, it still was not clear whether the driver had a medical issue or if there was a mechanical problem with the bus that crashed at West 35th and South Halstead. Trial underway for former Illinois basketball player Terrence Shannon Jr. in Douglas County, Kansas. Chicago native is on trial on rape and sexual aggravated battery charges. Former President Barack Obama checking in on the construction of the Obama Presidential Center on the South Side.
Professionalism, the hard work, the willingness to be out here when it's freezing cold. That's right. That's right. The sacrifices all you've made to make this happen is something that I could not be more grateful for and appreciative of.
The complex is expected to open in 2026. The Coast Guard is urging beachgoers to know the condition of Lake Michigan before they go swimming. Rescue swimmers at Grand Haven Station say most locals understand the risk of the lake, but many visitors may not this month. Waves on the lake yesterday, for instance, were 4 to 6 feet, much higher than the 1 to 2 feet they normally are. White Sox blew a 4-run lead late in an 8-4 loss to Seattle. Cubs take on Tampa Bay tonight. Panthers 2 wins away from hoisting their first ever Stanley Cup as Florida beat the Oilers 4-1 last night to take a 2-0 series lead in the Stanley Cup final. The news is a service of Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for 5 generations, combining heritage and innovation in every cup. Hot air roasted locally and cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee because great coffee is their family tradition. Online at papanicholas.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
We ask a lot from our dads.
Dad, can you read me
me a story. Dad, come watch me play soccer. Hey, Dad, I need help with my homework.
And they do a lot for us. Wouldn't it be great to give something special back to your dad this Father's Day? Well, our friends at Woodland Windows and Doors want to help you do just that. When you enter to win $500 in cash for Dad, just go to 560theanswer.com/dad to enter between now and June 14th. That's 560theanswer.com/dad. Presented by Woodland Windows and Doors.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and there are thousands of rave reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today. And see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text PROTECT to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, PROTECT to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, a family-owned restaurant, a Chicago family favorite for over 40 years. Why? Because they're known for sub sandwiches the size of your forearm. No joke. Their 6-inch sub has more meat and cheese in it than any foot long in an Irish neighborhood. These sandwiches are iconic, famous for their homemade Italian beef, meatballs, burgers, and of course, delicious Italian subs loaded with mortadella, cabagol, salami, provolone, and their own secret sauce called Love Potion No. 9. This vinegar and oil dressing is famous on its own. Both Augustino's locations boast walls covered in authentic rock and roll memorabilia and artifacts, all celebrating their love for good old-fashioned rock and roll. Augie's is a feast for your eyes and your stomach. Dine in or carry out. Bring the family or the team. Plus, Augie's caters corporate meetings, parties, and celebrations. Don't make it yourself. Make it happen with Augustino's. Go to Augustinos.com for locations and menus. That's Augustinos.com.
6:08, a check of the roads, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We start on I-88, the Reagan Toll Road, inbound, eastbound, between the Tri-State and the Eisenhower. Already delays this morning. Tri-State northbound jams up right at Roosevelt Road. I-57 slowing up into the Ryan merge, especially heavy between 111th and Halstead. The Ryan already 20 minutes, 95th. Into the Burn Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Terrific day, partly sunny. High today at 77. Clouds, a shower tonight, low 63. Partly sunny, warm day tomorrow, the high 88. A strong thunderstorm on Thursday. Could get some hail and damaging wind, the high 89. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
50 at O'Hare, 53 at Midway, 45 in Joliet. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You remember Dylan Mulvaney, right?
Caitlin, yeah, Collins.
The it dude of 2023. Well,
The man who brought down Bud Light. Yes.
the it dude pretending to be a woman of 2024 is a lock, and he is a spokeshuman for UGG, the UGG boots and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
UGGs, right?
I have a pair of Uggs. Who doesn't have a pair of Uggs?
He's not even trying to pretend to be a girl like Dylan Mulvaney is. He's a big, hairy dude in a mini skirt with sort of ghetto fabulous earrings and makeup, and he's ringing in Pride Month.
Hey, I'm Alok, and we're here today to talk about my UGG Pride collaboration.
We live in a world that often has taught us that we can only belong if we minimize ourselves. But I love being queer. I love having a body. I love being alive. You get to be different, and you still get to belong. My hope is that pride can be experienced by everyone, everywhere, every day.
He also has said that men should be allowed to use girls' restrooms because, I'm quoting, little girls are also kinky, unquote, and not innocent.
That's a threat against young women. But,
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
A loke. I think I said like a loke. A loke at the Ugg brand. Uggs. A lock for Uggs. Yeah, I wonder if a lock is an alumni of Washburn Grade School in Winnetka. Washburn Grade School. Just a heads up how this runs, if you're interested. I don't know if people out there have kids in grammar school. Just a heads up. I mean, take this information and use it as you see fit. Part of the science curriculum at Washburn, all 7th grade students complete a 2-week sexual health education program. It's ongoing right now. It started last week. This unit was developed after teachers completed a series of district-sponsored professional development seminars with Lurie's Children's Hospital. The unit meets national sexuality education standards and incorporates principles of gender-inclusive puberty and health education. Of course it does. Of course it does. So in conjunction with Lurie's Children's Hospital, we bring you the Amaze materials. The Amaze materials.
Okay.
This is how things get into your school. You have a statement made by some phony baloney educator like this Andrew Fenton dude at Washburn in Winnetka. Say, we did this. We went to the professional development in Lurie's Children's Hospital. Who could question that? Has anybody paid attention to what Lurie's Children's Hospital is doing with respect to mutilating children?
It's a business for them. They're making money.
Promoting it and doing it.
Yeah.
So the materials that are developed, anybody want to scratch below the surface? You just take the appeals to status and brand at face value. The topics for 7th graders at Washburn: brave spaces, sexual identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, puberty and the reproductive systems, menstruation.
That's not a thing.
No, not menstruation.
Oh.
Menstruation.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, understandable to be confused.
Okay,
confusing
sorry.
times. Healthy relationships, social media, and consent. Oh, social media. Let's tab that and get back to that one.
Okay.
And then sexual health. Amaze. Colin Wright, who's an evolutionary biologist, did a nice drill down on the Amaze videos and what this organization is doing, which is providing materials to groom kids into the politics of gender identity. That's what they're doing in some. Amaze, but again, you go to their YouTube channel. Amaze harnesses the power of digital media to provide young adolescents around the globe with medically accurate, age-appropriate, affirming,
gross.
Flag that word, and honest sex education they can access directly online, regardless of where they live or what school they attend. Strives to assist adults to communicate effectively and honestly about sex and sexuality with the children and adolescents in their lives. It sounds all rosy and wonderful, and it's just a bunch of flowery language that is in service of sexualizing children. That's what they're doing, and indoctrinating them politically to be gender identity warriors. I'll give you an example of some of these wonderful videos that 7th graders at Washburn and Winnetka will be treated to, thanks to this wonderful collaboration between the educators in Winnetka and Lurie's Children's Hospital.
Oh, you're so good looking. Those lips, those eyes. Oh, I'm so glad we're finally alone. Jane, dinner! Coming! I'll be right back. During puberty, your body starts to produce more sex hormones. One of the results is more interest and curiosity about sexuality. Sometimes young people will experience sexual pleasure and relieve stress and sexual tension by touching their genitals. That's called masturbation. It's very common for boys and girls. It's normal if you do it, and it's normal if you don't, and should always be done in private. Despite what you may have heard, masturbation cannot hurt your body physically. You won't run out of sperm.
Oh my God.
You won't make your penis break off.
Oh my gosh.
You won't grow hair on your palms. You won't go
I've never heard that
crazy.
one.
You won't go blind. Girls, you won't get pregnant or change your menstrual cycle. Guys, you won't impact your ability to get or keep an erection. If a person finds that they're masturbating so frequently that it is impacting their normal daily routine, they should talk with a trusted adult.
Oh my
But
God.
generally, masturbation, even a few times a day, does not
few
present
times
a
a
problem
day?
and is a physically safe way to express sexual feelings. Soon we'll be alone, my love. Okay, guys, till next time. And don't forget to come and visit me at amaze.org. Bye-bye.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. This is so you don't have to audit their sexual education week at Washburn. We'll just give it to you right here.
Can parents
Give it to you good and hard.
and repeatedly, multiple times a day? Yeah. Hi. Can parents opt their kids out of this class?
Yeah, they can.
But do the parents even know that this is going on?
They know this unit is going on, pun intended. But they don't. There's no reason, unless they dug a little deeper, that they would know what materials are being used.
I think I need to go take a shower.
Why? I'll tell you. Did you hear that one about guy goes to a doctor?
Oh my gosh!
And the doctor says, "Look, you're going to have to stop masturbating." And the guy says, "Well, why is that?" And the doctor says, "Because I'm trying to examine you." Hi-oh. All right, so other videos. Range of gender identities. The range of gender identities. Okay. You want to hear this?
I don't think I have a choice.
No, you don't.
My mom's not here to opt me out.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to have to sit through
Louise.
this.
All right, folks, here we go. A romaine and kale salad with avocado, cucumber, shishito peppers, and 4 kinds of cheese. Sprinkled in balsamic straight from Italy.
Wow. In my day, salads only had 2 ingredients. A rock-hard wedge of iceberg lettuce and a stinky old dried-up tomato.
Sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to eat fast. Alex is stopping by in a few minutes to work on our robotics project.
Alex, is that the girl with that weird dog or the boy with the hat with the wings that flap?
No, Uncle Jay. This is Alex.
Oh, okay. I remember. A very nice young... Come to think of it, well, is Alex a boy or a girl?
Actually, Alex doesn't define themselves as boy or girl.
What else is there?
Back in your day, most people understood the world in terms of just boys and girls. But now, we know gender is more complex than that.
Wait, aren't we just talking about whether you're born with a or a hee?
When you're born, your sex is assigned in a medical way, but the sex listed on your birth certificate may not necessarily match your gender identity.
Gender identity is a person's inner experience of who they are in terms of gender, their deep personal sense of being male, female, a blend of both, or neither.
And while many people have a gender identity that's the same as their assigned birth sex of female or male, that's not always the case, because gender exists on a spectrum. Like transgender, which means a person whose gender identity is not consistent with their assigned birth sex. Non-binary, which means a person whose identity doesn't fall in the category of either male or female. And genderqueer or gender fluid, which means a person who does not identify themselves as having a specific gender at all.
Does gender identity have to do with being straight or gay?
Actually, no. Gender identity has to do with the way you feel about yourself, while sexual orientation is based on the way you feel toward others, the people you may or may not be attracted to.
You know, I really like Alex, and I can tell they're a good friend to you, but I'm still pretty confused about all of this.
That's okay. You don't have to fully understand someone to respect them. To start, try not to make any assumptions about a person's gender. and use the name and pronouns that they ask you to. Above all, be a friend or ally for people of all gender identities.
That's right, Mom. Oh, Alex is here. Come on in.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, hey, Alex. Care for some salad? The balsamic's right from Italy, you know.
Educating dad, he's stuck in his old ways. He doesn't understand. Colin Wright, the evolutionary biologist on this video, it's a very confused video that forwards the bizarre notion doctors are prescribing gender identities on infants instead of simply observing and recording their sex. Boy and girl just refer to a non-adult male or female child, respectively. The definition of transgender also conflates gender defined as the social roles and expectations society places on individuals based on their perceived sex with gender identity. If a child is gender nonconforming and bullied because of it, society enforcing gender roles, this video suggests their gender identity doesn't match their sex, they're transgender. And so, it's things that we've gone over before, but this, what you're hearing, is dressed up as sexual health education practicum. And it's why half the country, as we talked about yesterday, believes that there is a social contagion aspect to the spike in the number of young people identifying as LGBTQIA2S+++++++, because there is. And it's not just social media, it's also the indoctrination that happens at grade schools in Winnetka and everywhere else.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment.
Bill in Waukegan.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just wanted to say I wish I could have listened to something like that when I was like 13, because ever since then I've had to get my eyes fixed, and now I
shave your palms.
One time, yeah, and one time my dad walked into my room and caught me and said, "Stop doing that because you're going to go blind." And I said, "Dad, I'm over here."
Hi-oh.
So thank you, guys. Have a great day.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I never heard about the hairy palm thing.
Yeah.
Really?
Joe in Naperville.
Anybody believe that stuff?
Yeah, he stole my line, but I was going to call up that number and ask them that, as a gay male with agoraphobia, could I ever truly come out?
Hi-oh. Thanks for the call, Joe. Yeah, very good. All right. We got some jokesters there. I like it. I'm glad I could encourage them to come out and offer their...
themselves.
All right, one more.
Okay, what's this one
on? Puberty and trans.
Oh, no.
But again, this is sexual health education, so this is not political at all.
Oh, no, not at all.
And it is not sexualizing children, focusing on their sexual identity and sexual conduct. I can't wait till Alok is brought back as a guest speaker.
Hi, Fish. Come here. Oh, you need a name. Let's see. Wait a second. What gender are you? A person who is transgender is someone whose internal sense of their gender, being a boy, girl, or something else, doesn't match their physical body. People who feel this way sometimes feel anxious when they begin to reach puberty and their body starts to change in ways that don't match their internal sense of their gender. These feelings are totally normal. If you feel you want more time to explore how you feel about your gender before your body starts to change, it's important to talk with a parent, counselor, therapist, or doctor about the feelings you have regarding your gender. After some discussion and counseling, you may be referred to an endocrinologist. Endocrinologists specialize in hormones, and they are the most likely to prescribe puberty blockers for someone who wants them.
Sure.
Puberty blockers are medications that will stop your body from changing. They are usually given as an injection or an implant. They block the production of hormones to stop or delay the physical changes of puberty. The effects of the medication are only temporary, so if a person stops using puberty blockers, the physical changes of puberty will begin again. Whether you identify as male, female, genderqueer, or something else, you're perfectly normal. And there are lots of ways to manage puberty so that it can be a fun, exciting time, rather than a scary or stressful one. Okay, maybe you need more time to get to know yourself first. I'll just call you Bubbles for now. Till next time. Don't forget to visit me at amaze.org or go to my YouTube channel to watch more. Bye.
Fun cartoons that are just providing news you can use, just information. There's no angle there. By the way, the statement about puberty blockers being essentially tempered, the impact being temporary, the scientific evidence suggests that's not the case. It's unclear exactly what the lasting impacts are, and there's probably some variance, but the scientific evidence is that there is long-term, if not permanent, impact. So, and by the way, you have some people like Chloe Cole and Prisha Mosley that are the detransitioners that are learning that the hard way, unfortunately. So, again, just going back to Colin Wright, the evolutionary biologist, which I'm not, we should all be, this is his words, we should all be very concerned that organizations like Amaze have made their way into children's classrooms. Despite claiming their videos are medically accurate and honest, this is far from the truth. In reality, these videos are highly ideological and are likely making children incredibly confused about sex, gender, and sexuality.
They have enough on their plate. They don't need this crap.
So, you hear Lurie's hospital, you hear Amaze, your alarm should be going off. Phil and Darien.
Hey, good morning, guys. So this whole segment, we're talking about gender fluid, everything gender. Why aren't we talking about race fluid? I identify as race fluid. You see, sometimes I feel like a honky, and sometimes I don't. For Cinco de Mayo, I feel Mexican. What's wrong with that? Why do we have to draw the line in the sand when it comes to race? Can you explain that to me?
Thanks for the call, Phil. Len in Highland Park.
Good morning. So, when I was in 7th grade, I read Hemingway, Fitzgerald, Steinbeck, and Masters and Johnson. And I got everything I needed to know from Masters and Johnson. That was, really thought of a diabolical book back then. Look how far we come.
Yeah, they have a Netflix show on that.
I thought you were going to say I got everything I needed to know from Tom Joad. But very good, Len. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you. You've watched the news. Rising crime has been affecting our everyday lives in Illinois more and more these days. Blue Star Security can protect you, your business, or your place of worship. Blue Star Security is the only security company in Chicago with over 900 off-duty police officers, all W-2 employees.
I'm Jeffrey Salvetti, Vice President of Blue Star Security and a 15-year law enforcement veteran. The Blue Star team is made up of over 900 state-certified active and retired law enforcement professionals. We serve businesses and private organizations with supply chain and special event security, and also protect our loved ones at places of worship and schools all across the Chicagoland area. Blue Star Security's technology allows mobilization of off-duty officers quickly and efficiently. Our primary mission is to provide unparalleled protective services for each assignment with integrity while maintaining our commitment to community service in the Chicagoland area.
Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at bluestarsecuриtyllc.com. That's bluestarsecuриtyllc.com.
If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have more than a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients with stable T levels, they also offer a convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month, so there's no need for weekly visits at the office. And at Low T Center, your BMI and health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So get back to your best and tell them Dan Prof sent you when you do. When you do, go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling.
I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Political litmus tests to work at the FBI at 6:36.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
6:31 on AM 560, The Answer. Malawi's vice president and 9 others have been killed in a plane crash. The country's president confirming today the wreckage of that military plane carrying top government officials was located in a mountainous area in the north of that country. Chinese police say a suspect is in custody, a 55-year-old man, in a stabbing attack on 4 instructors from Iowa's Cornell College from the small town of Mount Vernon, Iowa. They were teaching at a Chinese university in the northeast city of Jilin. UN Security Council approving a U.S.-drafted ceasefire deal aimed at trying to stop the fighting between Israel and Hamas terrorists. Hamas has yet to respond to that deal. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is going to be testifying in front of a House coronavirus subcommittee today. Cuomo will be questioned about how New York handled the early days of COVID and what led to the deaths of more than 15,000 people in nursing homes. Longtime chief of staff for former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan is scheduled to report to federal prison today. Tim Mapes is required to surrender to the Bureau of Prisons before noon. At least 5 were hospitalized around midday Monday when the driver of a CTA bus slammed into a section of the iconic and recently renovated Romova Theater and several vehicles in the Bridgeport neighborhood.
I was up in my apartment and I heard a huge loud crash. It shook the building. I assume it was the bus hitting the building here.
As of Monday evening, it's still not clear if the driver had a medical issue or if there was a mechanical issue on the bus. Federal prosecutors are calling for a 10-year prison sentence for former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke. Prosecutors argued for the prison term in court in memos filed yesterday. Chicago aldermen could vote this week on whether to approve the city's largest police and prosecutorial misconduct settlement ever. A $50 million payout was approved by the Finance Committee yesterday for the Marquette Park 4, setting up a final vote by the full council tomorrow. Illinois Congressman Darren LaHood revealed in a letter to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security that the Chinese battery manufacturer Goshen has ties with companies directly linked to Chinese slave labor and the ongoing genocide of Uyghurs. LaHood says companies like Goshen are committing horrific crimes and then collecting American taxpayer money. Echoing LaHood's comments is Amanda Piker, one of many Manteno citizens suing Goshen.
Here in America, we should not be giving taxpayer money to people who are using slave labor in their own country.
Piker says the governor, J.B. Pritzker, is lying about Goshen bringing jobs to the state. Piker says Goshen will still receive tax breaks, and in return, all they have to do is provide a minimal 150 jobs by 2028. White Sox blew a 4-run lead late in an 8-4 loss to the Mariners at T-Mobile Park. And the Cubs take on Tampa Bay's Rays at Tropicana Field tonight. Second oldest player in the NFL inking a new contract. Veteran tight end Mercedes Lewis set to enter season number 19, agreeing to a 1-year deal with the Bears yesterday. The news, a service of Woodland Windows and Doors. Explore a variety of Infinity from Marvin Windows at Woodland Windows and Doors. Purchase now through June 30th to receive 10% off installation. Visit woodlandwindows.com to make your appointment today. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka says we are witnessing a sham.
The leader of the opposition is sitting as we speak in a courtroom, and the witness arrayed against him stole from Donald Trump. They are lying for money. They are lying for power.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Sean Thompson here. You know when you're at the mall and you go to those directory signs, the one that says you are here? Well, imagine that directory is a map of your preparation for retirement. Would you know where you are? My friend Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group is offering you the opportunity to not only find yourself on that map, but also find the route toward a successful retirement. He calls it his retirement roadmap. You'll get an analysis of where you are right now, whether you're at risk if the market drops again, whether you're taking advantage of the latest tax changes, and much, much more. To get an idea where you stand on the road to retirement, call my friend Tom Fortino at the Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-934-1855. That's 630-934-1855. And ask for the retirement roadmap, or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And don't forget to listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings right here on AM 560, The Answer at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements. Changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Donna. I love gardening. I love to go on walks with my husband and my dog, and I love taking Balance of Nature. It makes me feel sparkly every single day. It's just an amazing product. I'm 56, but I feel 21. I feel so much alive. Balance of Nature is magic in a bottle, and I really love it.
Time's ticking. Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last. Hurry, this week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage, available at Navage.com.
6:38, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update, a service of ExpressPros.com. Forget about posting jobs, sifting through resumes and interviews with unqualified applicants. Go to ExpressPros.com to find the location near you. That's ExpressPros.com. Eden's a heavy 32 already. Lake Cook Road into the junction. A full 1 hour now. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange on the inbound Kennedy. The Ike Jam solid. Manheim to First Avenue. 54 in from 390 into the old post office. Dan Ryan, 25 minutes. 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny and pleasant today. High 77. Mostly cloudy with a shower overnight. Low 63. 50 at O'Hare. 53 at Midway. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
June 27th is the date for the first presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. The whole country will be watching, and we want you to watch the debate with us. We're hosting a debate watch party at Marcello's in Northbrook. Join us for a dinner buffet beginning at 6:30 p.m. and stay for the debate at 8 p.m. We'll be there providing pre-debate and post-debate commentary. Sean Thompson will also be there broadcasting live from 4 to 7 p.m. So get your tickets to join us for our debate watch party on June 27th at Marcello's in Northbrook. Go to 560theanswer.com/debate. That's 560theanswer.com/debate.
All right, the FBI, not political. Yeah, a few bad apples. Not a culture problem at FBI. That's what some argue.
Mm-hmm.
Pay no attention to Jim Comey and Andy McCabe's star turns on MSNBC. Okay. John Solomon, our friend over at justthenews.com. FBI officials conducting a top-secret security clearance review for a longtime employee asked witnesses whether that employee was known to support former President Donald Trump, if he had expressed any concerns about the COVID-19 vaccine, or if he had attended a Second Amendment rally, according to internal memos that prompted a complaint to the Justice Department's internal watchdog alleging political bias inside the Bureau. The employee's security clearance was revoked months after the interviews, which confirmed his support for Trump and gun rights and his concerns about the COVID vaccine, according to documents obtained by Just the News. So, you support Donald Trump, or you question the official story on, or just the thuggishness of vaccine mandates, for example, and no security clearance for you.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line.
So
that's none of their darn business.
So think about it conversely. Who does get security clearance?
People that are on their political team. Democrats. And if you're a Republican, sorry, sit this one out.
And so you have groupthink at the security clearance level, top secret security clearance level. And does that potentially raise the specter of abuse, thuggery? You got a bunch of people who believe the same thing about the same issues and the same people. Does that inform their professional conduct? Oh, heavens no. We're to believe. The memo showed the FBI Security Division asked at least 3 witnesses in the spring of 2022 whether the employee had been known to, quote, vocalize support for President Trump or vocalize objections to the COVID-19 vaccine. Agents ascertained from at least one witness, though, that the worker, in fact, had declined to get the COVID vaccine. The latter questions about the vaccine were asked in the spring of 2022, a few months after the Supreme Court had struck down the vaccine mandate. The agents also asked witnesses whether the FBI worker in question had attended the Richmond Lobby Day event in January of 21, which was a rally for supporters of the Second Amendment in Virginia. The agents' notes referred to the colleague they were vetting as a, quote, gun nut, but who engaged in no promotion of violence. The other notes, by the way, the memos are posted so you can read them online. FBI officials, of course, are declining to comment on why a worker's support for Trump or the Second Amendment or being opposed to getting the vax are relevant to security clearance. They also declined to answer questions from justthenews.com as to whether similar questions were asked about support for Joe Biden or other medical issues that are politicized, like, say, abortion. So as the attorney representing this whistleblower over at Empower Oversight wrote, instead of limiting its investigation to legitimate issues, Security Division at FBI acted as if support for President Trump, objecting to COVID-19 vaccinations, or lawfully attending a protest was the equivalent of being a member of Al-Qaeda or the Chinese Communist Party. I think, actually, they probably look more kindly on the Chinese Communist Party or Al-Qaeda affiliation than the Trump affiliation.
It doesn't instill any confidence in the FBI. I mean, every story that comes out, you just trust them less and less.
It's just some of the notes from the vetters
Yeah.
on the security clearance deal. The employee had right-wing views, nothing extreme. Agents wrote the employee was definitely a Trump supporter, strong Republican values. Third interview, agent noted the worker's support for Trump. Very significant, supported, would listen to talk shows. Trump did not lose. Dems stole it. Militant point of view, never implied would do anything aggressive or physical. But you know what? Why don't we just, put a ceiling on him anyway? Why don't we just sideline him anyway? I know he's just a fervent supporter of Trump, and he didn't like the mandate, or he had concerns about the vaccine, and he believes in the individual right to protect oneself, and constitutional right. And he's not promoting violence, as if having those views, would necessarily lead you to the question of, well, do you think he's violent? Oh, because he supports a person's right to protect themselves. Is he violent? Is he aggressive? Why? Because he's a Trump supporter? The whole thing smacks of, ideological bent, of course.
Yeah, it's an abuse of authority, abuse of power.
I'll tell you, this FBI is really, really something. Every time you turn around, this FBI is, up to no good. And, and frankly, just going back to our conversation earlier, more from Stephen Son. We got to make sure memories are refreshed here. Stephen Son, the Capitol Police Chief on J6th. And the FBI's role in J6. What was it? We don't really know. Not fully. We have some suspicions. We have some assertions, but we don't know fully because the FBI is not transparent. I know. There's still ongoing investigations and criminal prosecutions. And so Chris Wray is going to remain willfully blind and muted as to whether or not there were FBI assets on the grounds that day, and if so, how many, and what did they do? All those questions are out of bounds 3 years later. Here's what Sund had to say about that, about feds in the crowd on J6th.
I don't remember what it was. It's somebody from Great Britain. And they started asking me about feds in the crowd. And I was like, no, I would have been told. I said, no, we're getting word that there was feds in the crowd. And I said, no, I would have been told. I've got lots of friends with the Bureau. They all have my cell phone number. They would have told me. Thinking about that, and Jill Sanborn's testimony in 2021 where she said they were taking overt action to keep certain people from coming to January 6th to Washington, D.C. That's big for FBI to start taking overt action. I mean, that's not covert, overt. That's a big deal. Fast forward to February of this year, 2023, in the GAO report that says on January 3rd, the FBI was tracking 4 domestic terrorists that we're talking about coming to Washington, D.C. The Washington Field Office, their AOR, Area of Responsibility. By January 6th, they were tracking 18 or 19, it's in the GAO report, domestic terrorists. So think about that. They have 18 or 19 domestic terrorists coming to this event. So of course they're going to have resources on them, and they're not, you're not going to be just putting one agent. You're going to have multiples. So it'd be multiple with that. And I don't know how many they actually had coming there. So that would be regular standard police work. So I would be surprised by that, but not to share that in the intelligence, that's concerning.
Right. So he didn't know. He was left in the dark. He assumes, but we don't know. We still don't know. By the way, if what Sund is saying is checked out, and as I keep mentioning, Sund's story hasn't changed in the last 3 years, and it really hasn't been challenged that I'm aware of. If that's right, 18, 19 suspected domestic terrorists that they're concerned could be at the Capitol on January 6th of 2021, and so of course they're going to have a presence. That's just the beginning of the conversation, because I want to know who the FBI considers a domestic terrorist and why, based on how the FBI deals with its own employees.
Right. And then speaking of that, their own employees, when they asked about vaccine, he said, very against masks and vaccines, not vaccinated. The agent wrote, not vaccinated, and he tried not to wear masks. Ooh.
Right. I mean, the notations from the vetters are all,
oh my gosh,
yeah, they all speak to a particular point of view on these issues, of course.
Yeah, the agent noted that the employee was, quote, connected to anti-vaccinated FBI groups.
Wow. And just on the J6 thing, Sund, just to be clear, he said, and I said earlier in the show, this is what I believe is probably the most plausible explanation. He said it was a screw-up from the start, meaning the start of planning for the security for January 6th. So he's not spinning conspiracy theories, as you would expect he wouldn't.
Nowhere do I want to imply or indicate that I feel that agents instigated this or in any way like that. I'm never saying that. I haven't said that. And a lot of these agencies came to my defense on January 6th, FBI,
Yes.
Secret Service, stuff like that. So I just want to make sure that's clear. But there would have been some coordination. And when you look at it and you think with the intelligence coming in, if you think there's 19 domestic terrorists coming to Washington, D.C., somehow that would have been included in some type of report.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of questions that we don't have answers to. You would think that by now this would all be generally understood, and it's not, because we haven't been able to put Nancy Pelosi under the hot lights, Chuck Schumer under the hot lights, General Milley, Ryan McCarthy, Chris Miller under the hot lights, and ask them all the questions. Christopher Wray, for that matter. I know he's been before congressional committees, but he basically just takes the fifth.
Yeah, we learn nothing when he gets up there.
So, the more videos are coming out. The Pelosi video that we were discussing earlier, I take responsibility from Alexandra, her daughter's documentary work and so forth, and keep asking the questions. But you have to keep asking the questions, and you have to keep reminding people what serious, respected career law enforcement like Stephen Sund, who was in the chain of command, in the conversations in advance of that day and on that day, what they're saying, so that you can perhaps help some people who have been gaslit and programmed to believe this was some Trump-instigated insurrection, an attempted overthrow of the government, to understand that is completely evidence-free, that view.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, business owners, are you wondering how to grow your business? Do you need cash flow and a ready source for financing? Well, Signature Bank can help. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that Signature Bank's loan decisions are made locally by a team who knows your name, cares about your business, and is invested in your success. When you need advice about your business or even have a question, Signature Bank is there to help. There are no handoffs or call centers. This is a team that wants to get to know you and your business. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right. I'm a customer. When I call, someone picks up the phone on the other end. And with Signature Bank, I can securely bank anywhere, anytime. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630. That's 773-467-5630. Or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. Signaturebank.bank. Your business could be Signature Bank's next success story. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
All right, I can't wait to do it. Take my Balance of Nature. Why? Well, don't get enough fruits and veggies on my own, and that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. I take my 6 capsules a day and crack them open, pour them in warm water, and voila, that's what it is. So give your body, your heart, and your mind what it needs, and that's a proper balanced diet. The number to call, 800-246-8751. Use coupon code Chicago to save 35% off your first order and free shipping. 800-246-8751. 800-246-8751 or online at balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
BP's Whiting Refinery is hosting a community night on Thursday, June 20th from 3 to 7 p.m. Come learn more about how an oil refinery works, products made, and the people who make it run. There will be food, fire trucks, and STEM activities for kids. It's the Whiting Refinery Community Night, Thursday, June 20th from 3 to 7 at the Mascot Hall of Fame, 1851 Front Street in Whiting.
It's It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 Golf Outing, presented by Signature Bank. And this year, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responders and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Wednesday, June 19th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing package, which includes 25 one-minute commercials between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. and a free digital marketing analysis. And we also have twosomes available in addition to foursomes. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Control Point Engineering, Waukegan Roofing, and by Crosscom Public Adjusters. AM 560, The Answer.
That sound means it's time for In-Depth History with Frank, the history teacher from Arlington Heights, because there's nothing new in this world, just the history we don't know. And it is Father's Day this weekend. And Frank has a few historical notes on that. Frank, take it away.
Good morning, and a happy Father's Day to all this Sunday. Now, George Washington is often called the father of our country, but it is also said of his fellow Virginian, Patrick Henry, that he actually fathered the country. He had 6 children with his first wife, Sarah, and then with his second wife, Dorothea, he proceeded to sire another 11 children, having his last one at the ripe young age of 61.
Wow.
Now, speaking of fictional dads, my favorite scene from Dan's favorite movie, The Notebook, is when Noah comes home from fighting in World War II, and his dad, played by Sam Shepard, hands him a check from the sale of his own home to allow Noah to buy the Windsor plantation. What a dad. Another great father-son movie is in Kramer versus Kramer, when Billy falls on the playground and his dad, Ted, runs into the hospital and sits there with him while he gets his stitches. Some great real-life stories, too. When President Harding died in 1923, Calvin Coolidge was on vacation in his hometown of Plymouth Notch, Vermont, when the news reached him that he would now be president. But the only judge in the area was his father, John Calvin Coolidge Sr., who swore in his own son as president at 2:47 a.m. by kerosene lamp. Another poignant story is that of Speaker of the House Sam Rayburn of Bonham, Texas, who was leaving on a train to be the first to go to college, and his dad, at the last minute, gave Sam his whole savings account of $25 so his son would not struggle as much at school. One final point. The songs of the cicadas are fading, and in their very short lives, they compose a symphony of sorts as a celebration of their next generation. But since Roe versus Wade in 1973, we have played our own postmodern funeral dirge, and the secondary effect of it is the loss of chances at fatherhood and the opportunities that would have allowed for personal growth and development. And this has taken its toll on all of us. And Dad, thanks for everything.
Very good, as always, Frank. Well, I know it was almost like The Notebook. I can't watch that movie. I can't stop crying. I can't. Yeah, I can't do it. Frank has me nailed on that. Boy,
it was beautiful.
Frank,
Thank you.
As always, but I didn't know. Boy, I didn't know that about Patrick Henry. Good.
So he had six kids with his first wife, and then another 11 with his second wife. Stop.
In my travels, he has.
It's like he played the NFL.
In my travels, he has two homes. He's got Scotchtown and then Red Hill. And his first wife, Sarah, had a mental breakdown, and he really tended to her her last 2 or 3 years. And then he married a much younger woman when he was like 42. And then he had 11 kids with her.
Yeah.
So he had 17 kids. It's really amazing.
Yeah, you mentioned Nick Cannon. He just took out a $10 million insurance policy on his testicles.
No, he did.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
What was Patrick Henry's insurance policy on his testicles? Frank, do you know?
I don't know.
All right. Look that up and get back to us next week with the answer, will you?
Oh, you just ruined a beautiful moment.
Well, that's what I do. Frank, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
7:07, Pastor Corey Brooks.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is a wonderful father, Mike Scott.
Prosecutors call for a 10-year prison sentence for Ed Burke, a teen wounded in a West Side shooting. Tim Mapes is headed to federal prison today. The White Sox falter late, and the Bears sign tight end Mercedes Lewis to a 1-year deal. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Biden's jury gets back to work next hour. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, the day after they deliberated for about an hour after getting the gun case against the president's son in Wilmington, Delaware.
In closing arguments, prosecutor Derek Hines asked jurors, was Hunter Biden an addict? Did he know he was an addict when he filled out that form? That's all you have to decide. Hunter's accused of 3 felony counts for lying on the ATF firearm purchase form about being an addict or using illegal drugs at that time in October 2018.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal.
He texted his former sister-in-law 2 days after he bought the gun that he was in a car smoking crack. But Hunter's defense team reminded jurors that no one actually saw him doing drugs the day he purchased the weapon or the 11 days in which he had the gun.
Now, President Biden hosted a concert at the White House last night celebrating the Juneteenth holiday a week early.
A day of profound weight and power. A day to remember the original sin of slavery.
Fox's Peter Ducey reports from the White House. The president also accused Republicans
of trying to take away black Americans' right to vote, trying to do anything to reverse this trend. He has shed 7% of his black voter support since October of 2020. Trump has gained in that time 9%.
4 American teachers hospitalized in China after being stabbed in a park in the city of Jilin. They're all instructors from Cornell College in Iowa, and their injuries considered non-life-threatening. The suspected attacker is in police custody. In Africa,
the vice president of Malawi, Solos Chilima, is among 10 people dead after their plane came down in the country's mountainous north. President Lazarus Chakwera made the announcement, adding there were no survivors. It took more than a day for 600 rescue workers to find the wreckage.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is in Israel for talks again, urging Hamas to agree to a ceasefire proposal to stop the war in Gaza, approved by the UN Security Council, that would set more hostages free. America's listening to Fox News.
Your calves and feet.
51 degrees in Chicago. 7:02 is our time on AM 560. The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Longtime Chief of Staff for former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan is scheduled to report to a federal prison today. Democrat Tim Mapes is required to surrender to the Bureau of Prisons before noon. It's unclear where Mapes will serve his sentence. 5 were hospitalized around midday Monday when the driver of a CTA bus slammed into a section of the iconic and recently renovated Ramova Theater and several vehicles in the Bridgeport neighborhood.
And I heard a huge loud crash. It shook the building. I assume it was the bus hitting the building here.
The crash occurred at West 35th and South Halsted in the Bridgeport neighborhood. Trial underway for former Illinois basketball player Terrence Shannon Jr. in Douglas County, Kansas. The Chicago native is on trial on rape and sexual aggravated battery charges. Former President Barack Obama checking in on the construction of the Obama Presidential Center on Chicago's South Side yesterday.
Professionalism, the hard work, the willingness to be out here when it's freezing cold. Yeah. That's right. The sacrifices all you've made to make this happen is something that I could not be more grateful for and appreciative of.
Federal prosecutors are calling for a 10-year prison sentence for former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke. Federal jury found Burke guilty last December. He's scheduled to be sentenced on June 24th. School officials are choosing to close the only bilingual school in Evanston.
I grew up in a very small town with not a lot of diversity. My brothers and I being the only children of color of Hispanic descent. And my children are allowed to have a space that's safe for them, where they're seeing a lot of other children that are just like them.
Officials citing financial issues and rapidly declining student enrollment for the closure. 4 days after surviving an 8-story fall from a scaffold that was seen by many swaying in 40-mile-per-hour winds, the family of the injured ironworker Jeffrey Spraka is alleging in a new lawsuit careless and negligent acts by 2 companies on that site, general contractor Turner Construction and subcontractor Adjustable Forms Incorporated. White Sox blew a late 4-run lead in an 8-4 loss to the Mariners. Cubs take on Tampa Bay tonight. NBA Finals continue tomorrow. Dallas hosting the Celtics for Game 3. The news, a service of Health Insurance Mentors. Are you 65 or older and thinking about Medicare? Medicare, done correctly, will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Call Stephen Tucker today. Visit healthinsurancementors.com or call 630-674-1551. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Windy City Safes in Niles wants to help you celebrate America this summer by giving away a Liberty personal home safe. Enter to win from now until the 4th of July at 560theanswer.com/safe. That's 560theanswer.com/safe. And make sure to stop by Windy City Safe's showroom at 7310 North Milwaukee Avenue in Niles and receive a free American flag to display in your home or business while supplies last.
Over the years, Eric has built a great company. He's grown his business, increased his client base, and now has multiple locations. But there's one thing that Eric should be concerned about, and that's his network. While Eric's company has grown, his network evolved into a mess and has left him vulnerable to cyber attacks like ransomware that can fold up his business permanently. He thought his basic network that evolved from years ago was enough, but it's not just his server that's at risk. Cyber attacks affect the full infrastructure of a business, right down to customer data, employee devices, and even their smartphones. So Eric came to Turnkey to help protect his business, his team, and his clients. Thanks to Turnkey, Eric's network was overhauled and thoroughly secured, moving forward with real-time threat hunting protection. Turnkey has the solutions to protect your business. Want to build and improve your network? Turnkey can help with cutting-edge IT solutions. Start a conversation today. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. Ever since the October 7 massacres inflamed the radical left in the U.S., Joe Biden has tried to force Israel into compromises that would force them to allow Hamas to survive the war. This week, NBC News reported that Biden now wants to deal with Hamas directly on American hostages and cut Israel out entirely. This abruptly changes months of avoiding the issue of Hamas's American captives. The media has ignored them, and the Biden administration only refers to them when necessary, usually as leverage against Netanyahu's government in Jerusalem. The timing of this trial balloon seems especially suspicious, given the spectacular success of the IDF's hostage rescue operation this past weekend. Western nations have foolishly dispensed with the best policy, that is, never to negotiate with terrorists. Biden takes it all in a particularly malevolent direction, cutting Israel out of the loop while pushing a two-state solution at the UN. Don't miss the broader message. It rewards Hamas for the October 7 massacres. In a word, it's despicable.
7:07, let's get an update on the roads. In our Team Hochberg Traffic Center, this update is service of Windy City Safes. What are you doing to keep your most prized possessions safe? Windy City Safes is Chicagoland's only Liberty Safe dealer. With Liberty Safes, you're not just getting a safe, you're getting peace of mind. Visit the Niles showroom, call 224-LOCKBOX, or online at windycitysafes.com. In Manhattan, Monee Road and Schoolhouse Road, report of an accident. Gurnee, Grand Avenue, Route 132 eastbound shut down between Milwaukee and Kilbourne due to a bad accident there. On the Tri-State, we're seeing delays, slow traffic northbound between the Reagan I-88 and the Ike merge. Stop-and-go traffic on the Bishop Ward due to an earlier accident between 103rd and King Drive. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Terrific day, partly sunny, high today at 77. Clouds, a shower tonight, low 63. Partly sunny, warm day tomorrow, the high 88. A strong thunderstorm on Thursday, could get some hail and damaging wind, the high 89. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
51 at O'Hare, 53 at Midway. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Friday in Chicago, as everyone knows, was Wear Orange Day to
stop gun violence.
Stop gun violence.
How'd that go?
I guess it didn't go great because another young person was murdered yesterday. 18-year-old woman in Inglewood was killed. A family friend is in a coma after 2 separate shootings there. But I know because BLM Brandon told us that they know what to do when it comes to providing public safety, and they're doing it, and it's working.
Because they say so, right?
Let's check in on that score with Pastor Corey Brooks, who's senior pastor of New Beginnings Church of Chicago, founder and CEO of Project Hood as well. Pastor Brooks, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Always a blessing and always a privilege to be with you all. Thank you so much.
The public safety matter, I know murders are slightly down over 30-year highs, but the performative, wear orange, have a vigil, convene a conference, initiate a commission. How's it going?
Well, we need more than that. Those things are important when it comes to bringing awareness and letting people know some of the solutions. But we definitely need more output. We definitely need more programs focused toward helping people to transition their lives and take accountability for their lives. I think that's one of the things that's really lacking in this whole violence prevention effort is that where we need to push, 1, education. 2, we got to push young people toward taking accountability for their lives. And 3, we got to have all hands on deck. We continue to try to think the government can somehow solve our problems.
Well, I mean, the awareness thing, is anybody unaware of the violence in Chicago? I don't, what is awareness? What does that mean exactly?
Great. I think, the whole world is aware of the violence in Chicago. You can go, I was in South Africa and I told someone I was from Chicago and they instantly start talking about the violence. So I think the world is aware of the violence. I think the problem is that there are not enough solutions being talked about and positive solutions that are actually creating change. I think programs like what we're doing, Project Hood, where we're actually transforming people's lives here in the Woodlawn area, violence is drastically down compared to the rest of the city. And I think those type of narratives, we have to continue to talk about the solutions. I think so many times we gang up on the problem. Gang up on the people, but we never gang up on the problem. And I think that is a major issue.
Well, I mean, is one of the aspects of this prosecuting and incarcerating repeat violent offenders?
For sure. I think, this whole idea and mindset of somehow that we can call them justice impacted individuals and somehow bring equity into the criminal justice system is this whole woke philosophy that continues to go throughout America. Even today, I'm writing about on Fox. My writing is about these DAs across America who have forgotten about the intent of the law, but now they're focused on the impact of the law, where it's not about trying to get the evidence and then charge a person. It's about pick the person and charge them. But as it relates to the violence in Chicago, we definitely need to make criminals criminals. We definitely need to hold them accountable. And we definitely need to put them in jail. And we can't continue to let them off the hook and seeing 3 and 4 time violent offenders being released from jail with no bail. That's just idiotic.
Well, have you ever tried to talk to Kim Foxx about this? I mean, I know you probably know her, and I'm sure you probably met her at some point in time. But have you ever reached out to her?
No, no, not really. Everyone knows my positions. I write about them. I talk about them. And, those progressives, they have their own idea and their own mindset. They're not listening to anyone, especially a Black conservative. So I'll continue to shout from the rooftops. I'll continue to write articles. I'll continue to be in places where I know they're reading and listening. And hopefully they'll listen to the views. If I ever get a chance to sit down and talk with her, of course, I'll share my views. I'll share even with the next state's attorney. I'll share with them as well. But we definitely need to make sure that when it comes to crime, that people pay for crime. There used to be a time when they used to say you do the crime, you do the time. But now that's not true.
Referencing your piece over at Fox News' website, DEI, and one of the biggest problems facing Black Americans. You made this very elegant point in its simplicity, but it's really important. And and I'll let you make it. But it was the comparison to of DEI to segregation, basically.
Yeah. This whole idea that DEI, it perpetuates the narrative of Black inferiority, and that was established during slavery and segregation, that the slavers and the segregationists somehow convinced Black people that they were inferior, and a lot of Blacks bought into that for whatever reason. And I think DEI perpetuates that same narrative, that same mindset that tries to tell Black people that you are inferior. So therefore, we need to help you in equity and help you to be successful and help you to reach certain levels. And I think that inferiority is the biggest problem that we face as Black Americans, because we bought into that whole mindset that regardless of abilities and achievements, it's all about buying into the label of our Blackness.
I mean, I go back to that's such a key point, which is why I wanted you to make it, and I'm glad you did in your commentary as well. But just over the last few weeks, we've seen a couple of efforts to perpetuate the race hustle, and this is what substantiates these backwards policies like DEI, which is that it's the white man or the non-person of color that is keeping the Black man down. Biden tried that at Morehouse College at the commencement. It didn't go over real well, actually. And some others have tried it, too, over the last couple of weeks to no great effect. Do you sense that the whole, the white man is the problem and doing something about the white man is the solution? Is that on the decline?
Well, I think these progressives and these liberal politicians are definitely perpetuating this whole idea and mindset that the problem with America is the white man, and that somehow the white man is responsible for every single issue. And that's the reason why I have such a big problem with DEI, because the result in racism by focusing solely on skin color, and what it does is it overshadows individual merit and contributions. And I think when you start focusing solely on skin color, that's when division starts, that's when the problem starts, that's when all the fundamental issues that we're faced with rise to the surface. So I definitely don't buy into that mindset that the person that's holding me back is the white man. That definitely would not be my mindset.
Well, what's going on at your church and Project Hood and the community center? And you give us an update on all of your efforts.
Well, we got to get you to come visit, Dan, and check it out. But the building is going up. We're about 25% underway. The whole foundation and the construction site is up. We're now getting ready to erect some steel. And so it's 90,000 square feet of transformation of what it takes we believe, to change the community around, to change it from an O block to one of the most violent blocks in America to an opportunity block where people are taking accountability and changing their lives. So the center is amazing. It's going to be amazing, and we're going to do great work. And I believe we're going to create a model for what can be done in urban America, across America, using some conservative principles.
Are you concerned the government might come in and say you need to house migrants in that building?
Well, if they do, that'll be the biggest fight they've ever seen in their life. The government has not given us any money, so the government definitely is not going to tell us what to do.
Well, and I would think too that the need is going to be for what the community center will provide. From my understanding of your descriptions of the programs and services, the need is greater than it's ever been. In part because the tax credit scholarship is going away, and so a lot of kids that had access to better schools than their neighborhood school are not going to have that access anymore, unfortunately, and so that's going to require organizations like yours to fill some of those gaps for kids' education.
Absolutely. It's sad that we're already dealing with major educational issues. In our neighborhood alone, you have a 3% reading proficiency and a 4% math proficiency. Those numbers are startling. And now you add to it that individuals who once were able to get certain funds to go to certain schools now are not going to have those funds, now are not going to probably be able to go to those schools, and they're going to be forced to have to go to these failing schools. That's very unfortunate. So that's where we come in, and we're going to have to do a better job and a bigger job than we're already doing to make sure that we're mentoring and providing tutors and educational programs, because if we don't, the way the system is set up, these kids are going to continue to fall through the crack. But I've decided, and we've decided on our watch, we are not going to let that happen. We're going to do everything we can in our power to help as many young people as we can, because without education, they are desperately, headed toward failure and headed toward jail.
Byron Donalds, a congressman from Southwest Florida, got into, he got attacked. He didn't really get into trouble. He just got attacked by the left, by Hakeem Jeffries and others, Joy Reid, for saying at an event in Philadelphia, Republican outreach to black residents of Philadelphia event. He said, basically, like, look, part of the conversation about black success is the black family, and there were more two-parent families during Jim Crow than there are today, and one of the ways you access middle income status and upper income status is, fathers and mothers come together, stay together, raise their children, and he got attacked as sort of somehow celebrating Jim Crow, which he wasn't doing. But I just wonder what your reaction was to his comments and sort of re-raising an issue that's been raised many times.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm a big fan of his. I know he's going to be in town next week, I believe it is, for a fundraiser I plan to attend.
Good.
But I've learned that when you address these issues, I've learned through other people from watching how they made the mistake and walked through the landmine that you had a certain word it a certain way. You can say the same thing, but you got to watch those landmines. And he was 100% correct in what he said. I just would have said it differently. I would have quoted Martin Luther King. I would have quoted Dr. Martin. I would have quoted Dr. King. I would have quoted Malcolm X. I would have quoted one of the black progressives of this day, Dr. Umar. They all say the same thing, that he said it, but because he's a black conservative, he's going to be attacked, and I know that feeling. I get attacked there's not a day that I don't get attacked by some progressive, some liberal, who is trying to undermine the words that I say and try to somehow make them anti-black. But that is not the truth, but I agree with him 100%.
What about locally, like in the neighborhoods that you work and live and serve? When people see you getting attacked and for being conservative, I mean, in the neighborhoods in which you live and work and serve, they're, overwhelmingly Democrat. They're overwhelmingly, support the power structure in the city and the state. So when they see you getting attacked, what do they say?
Well, my mom taught me a long time ago that actions speak louder than words. And so they speak words and I speak action. And I think when people see the things that we do and they hear some of the messages and things that people say, they know that it's not true, because they see how many kids we help. They see how many students we put through college. They see how many summer programs we have. They see how many people we're putting through the trades. They see our work. And so They're a lot of talk and a lot of hot air, and that's all they have. But they don't have any programs that are substantially helping the black community and marginalized people. They're just full of talk and hot air.
Corey Brooks, senior pastor of New Beginnings Church of Chicago, founder and CEO of Project Hood as well. Pastor Brooks, thank you as always.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $240. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance cost you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
As we were just talking about with Pastor Brooks, choosing where to send your kids to school is one of the most important decisions you make as parents. Even as the school year has come to an end, you might be thinking about where to send your kids to school in the fall. You need to know that private school might be an option for you and your family, thanks to our friends at Half Price Schools. At halfpriceschools.com, you'll find many different private schools from around Chicagoland, offering a full year of tuition for half the normal price. And you can take advantage of this great opportunity. It's simple. Find a private school near you, purchase a tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. HalfPriceSchools.com has schools across Chicagoland, including St. Andrew's Lutheran in Park Ridge, St. Peter Lutheran in Schaumburg, Christian Liberty Academy in Arlington Heights, Ravenswood Christian School in Chicago, and many others. So don't delay. Next school year will be here before you know it. Visit HalfPriceSchools.com today. Do not wait. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Let me ask you this. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? Well, this is the best time for being outdoors, but not if your knees, shoulders, back, or hips are hurting. Hey, it's Amy Jacobson, and don't suffer any longer. Non-surgical joint pain relief is here from our good friends at QC Kinetics. Call them today. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Walk, run, hike, play golf, move again pain-free. So stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. They're open on Saturdays, now with new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements. Changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Tom. Welcome to my garage. I don't need new cars. I like old cars. Old cars remind me of me. I take Balance of Nature. I feel great. Take my word for it. If you want to feel great, take Balance of Nature. You'll never regret it.
Time's ticking. Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last, with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Hurry, this week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Is your company prepared for an emergency? Are your employees trained in CPR? Would they know what to do if another employee needed basic first aid, or worse yet, suffered a sudden cardiac arrest on the job? It's estimated that over 400,000 lives are lost every year in the United States to this killer. But sudden cardiac arrest is also one of the most preventable causes of death. Call Cardiac Rescue Systems today and arm yourself with the tools necessary to treat a first aid victim or prevent heart attack or cardiac arrest from needlessly taking lives. We offer great pricing on AEDs and CPR first aid training. Our certified professional trainers will come right to your business and train on site. Call Cardiac Rescue Systems today for a free quote at 630-541-5469 or check us out online at cardiacrescue.com. That's cardiacrescue.com. Cardiac Rescue Systems. Call today. Lives depend on it.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hopefully we'll get our text line back up and running soon. I got to talk to Marcus about that and see where we're at. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
You're the project lead on the getting the text back up and running.
I'll take it under my wing.
Very good. At 7:37, our weekly confab with Ted Dabrowski, president of wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy-related, fun with numbers. Wait till you hear some of these salaries and pensions for your betters in state and local government around the state of Illinois, the land of the link card, at 7:37.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
7:30 on AM 560. The Answer, and Malawi's vice president, 9 others killed in a plane crash. The country's president says wreckage of the military plane carrying the top government officials was located in a mountainous area after a search that lasted more than a day. Chinese police say a suspect is in custody after a stabbing attack on 4 instructors from Iowa's Cornell College. The instructors from that school in the small town of Mount Vernon were teaching at a local university in China. UN Security Council approving a U.S.-drafted ceasefire deal aimed at trying to stop the fighting between Israel and Hamas. The plan has the backing of Secretary of State Antony Blinken.
Again, my top priority, always, to bring Americans home. And because of that, the most effective way to do that, to achieve that, to actually get them home, is through the proposal that's on the table. So let's see if we get an answer from Hamas.
Hamas has yet to respond. The Delaware jury in Hunter Biden's federal firearms case the Delaware jury has the case. Deliberations are set to continue this morning. The president's son is accused of illegally buying and possessing a gun while being addicted to drugs in 2018. The longtime chief of staff for former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan scheduled to report to a federal prison today. Tim Mapes is required to surrender before noon. 5 hospitalized after a midday Monday crash when the driver of a CTA bus slammed into a building and several vehicles in the Bridgeport neighborhood.
I was up in my apartment and I heard a huge loud crash. It shook the building. I assume it was the bus hitting the building here.
The crash occurred at West 35th and South Halstead Street. Federal prosecutors want a 10-year prison sentence for former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke. He's scheduled to be sentenced on June 24th. 4 days after surviving an 8-story fall from a scaffold seen swaying in 40-mile-an-hour winds, the family of an injured iron worker is alleging in a lawsuit careless and negligent acts by 2 companies, the general contractor, Turner Construction, and a subcontractor. And the Exchange Club of Naperville says it will not hold Rib Fest this year. For the past 2 years, the festival was held in Wheaton at the DuPage County Fairgrounds and scaled down in the wake of the pandemic. The club is quoted by the Daily Herald as saying the club has other opportunities. White Sox lost to the Mariners 8-4. Cubs take on Tampa Bay tonight. The news, a service of Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combining heritage and innovation in every cup. Hot air roasted locally and cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee because great coffee is their family tradition. Online at papanicholas.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk likes what he's seeing from Trump.
Donald Trump is up in every major poll. Donald Trump is, quote, the favorite. Yet Donald Trump is not running this campaign in 2024. He's not playing it safe. And I love that about his attitude right now. I believe he is being rewarded in the polls because he's willing to go to bodegas, go into the Bronx, and go into the Libertarian Convention.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's Reveille. This week, the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party sent a letter to the Department of Homeland Security about the Chinese company Goshen. In it, they wrote, newly discovered information indicates that Goshen maintains extensive business relationships in provinces or regions in the People's Republic of China with companies directly linked to forced labor and involved in the ongoing genocide of Uyghurs and other predominantly Muslim ethnic groups. Further on in the letter, the Select Committee referred Goshen to be added to the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act list. Companies on that list are prohibited from importation of goods manufactured with slave labor. This is just the latest disturbing news about Goshen, a company effectively controlled by China, our number one adversary, and a company that Governor Pritzker and his Democrat Party have given over $500 million in tax subsidies to. Informed industry folks know Goshen is determined to eliminate all competition in the EV space by being the cheapest provider of EV batteries on the market. Using slave labor helps keep those costs low. It is absurd the Illinois taxpayers are being forced to fund immoral business practices. Every legislator, regardless of party, should call for the Goshen deal to be rescinded and the $125 million already given returned. Pritzker is selling us out for his green energy fantasies, but those dreams are turning into a nightmare for nearly every EV manufacturer as they lose money on every vehicle they sell. We cannot wait for ideologues to catch up to what the market is telling them, and we should never tolerate bureaucrats and politicians funding our enemies with our money. I'm Jeannie Ives. To learn more, listen to my radio show on Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. and sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
7:36. Let's get an update on the roads in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. In this update, a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. If you have a home or business insurance claim, they've helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. Outbound Ike exit ramp blocked. It's outbound. The off-ramp to 25th Avenue has a couple of cars rolled over. Solid traffic backing up to Pulaski right now. Checking the inbound Dan Ryan, a full half hour, 95th into the Burn Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny and pleasant, high of 77. Mostly sunny and 55. Your next news is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when you're moving out. I said, when you're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and it's time for our weekly conversation with Ted Dabrowski, president of wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. And I can't wait to talk public sector salaries and pensions. But before we do, I do want to pick up on the commentary you just heard from Jeannie Ives and this business of Goshen, of course, being tied to the Chinese Communist Party and thus being tied to the Chinese Communist Party's human rights abuses like slave labor camps and genocide against the Uyghur Muslim minorities there. Well, I just want somebody to ask. Maybe you can go to his next presser, Amy, because I just want somebody to ask Jelly Belly to square the circle for us, Mr. Progressive. Like all the leftists, fighters for the downtrodden and the marginalized and the people of color and the minorities being oppressed, and yet here we're underwriting. We're underwriting one of their ventures to come to our fair land. I mean, it's just...
You just can't make this stuff up.
You cannot. Ted, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Hey, you can ask him that question, Dan, but he'll do just like he did with education results. He'll say it's a Republican talking point. He'll say it's not true and move on, and nobody will challenge him.
It's not true. It's so the Chinese Uyghur Muslims are not being oppressed, and they're not in camps in China. That's not true. That's fake news.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear him say it.
Yeah.
That would at least spark something. I mean, he can, offer those beautiful lies, and they're not even that attractive, all he wants, but at least maybe it would spark some, wait, what? If that's the best you can do to try to cover up being in bed with Chinese communist gulag operators?
Well, hey, good. Well, good for Darren LaHood, our congressman, for stepping up and joining that list of a few congressmen who challenged on that, because it should be challenged.
Yeah. I just find that really something to behold. And of course, you're right. The Chicago and Illinois Political Press Corps, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil against the power structure. I get it. Speaking of the power structure. First, you get the pension, and then you get the women. No, I don't know exactly how that goes with public sector. I just know how it went with Tony Montana. First, you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the women. For these public sector workers in Illinois, first you get the phony baloney job, then you get the guaranteed 7-figure pension, and then you move to Arizona or Florida. Did I have that right?
Yeah, it sounds about right. It's just what a lot of certainly a lot of the superintendents do. They go get big cushy jobs in Arizona and California, start over again.
All right, so let's have some fun with this. Let's go through these tables that you've put together of some of the biggest tax eaters that the Western world has ever seen.
Well, first thing we have to understand is that we have two classes of workers now in Illinois, and I think it's the ultimate undoing of Illinois, because it's too expensive and it's unfair. But you got one class, the government class. They get the guaranteed multi-year contracts with guaranteed raises and guaranteed COLAs and sick leave days and all that. And they all add up, and they're all constitutionally protected, or through Amendment 1 or through the Pension Protection Clause. And then you got the other class of people who don't get any such benefits, right? They don't get any of those protections, and yet they're forced to pay for that first class. And so I think that's already happening. That's why a lot of people leave. They can't stand it. So that's what this report is about, is that there's 140,000 members in the Illinois government's 100K plus salary or pension club. It's 50% more than just 5 years ago. So it's they're compounding and growing, and that's the absurdity of what's happening in Illinois.
Wait, there's 50% more state of Illinois employees that are making $100,000 than there were 5 years ago.
Yeah, so in 2018 there was about 94,000, and now we're at 143,000. And and you can imagine what's going to happen when places like CTU get their 9% compounded raises for 5 years in a row, right? You'll just get a whole bunch more.
I mean,
the teachers union.
So some of my speaking of the teachers, the CPS chief of staff is CPS chief of staff is the top salaried Chicago Muni worker, city of Chicago worker. Pedro Martinez makes $375,000. Yeah, that's not bad. That's
not bad at all.
No, I mean,
and what do we have to show for it?
Well, I don't know. I asked Corey Brooks that answer. We just did. It's not great.
Not in his neighborhood.
What you have to show for it is death of civilization, reading and math scores, which explains the death of civilization in Chicago. It's sort of pretty straightforward. Here's one of my favorites, and you have to put. I'm sure you have some of your favorites to highlight the lunacy of this all, Ted. Theodore Flickinger, I guess he was the former head of the Illinois Association of Park Districts. His pension is $303,000. The head of the Illinois Association of Park Districts, $300,000 pension. That's that has to be. I don't know exactly what age you retired, but that has to be a net present value pension of upwards of $10 million.
Yeah, easy. What's amazing, he didn't even work. I mean, it's not a park district employee. He's for the Association of Park Districts.
Right, which is funded by the park districts, though.
But what does he do?
I assume he was the head of it.
Yeah.
What is that? What does he do as the head of it? I have no idea. Nobody else does either.
And construction paper in a room.
I don't know. He says, "Hey, put this swing set over here and have this softball league." I don't know. Ted, go ahead. Give us a favorite,
Well, yeah, well, I was gonna say, and the other guy who's Brad Cole, who is at least will take phone calls and discuss important issues with me, and I like that. But he's also part of a association, the Illinois Municipal League, $505,000 in total pay. And again, that's an association. I think they're no longer those people in associations are no longer a part of the pension plans, but he is based on the past. So $505,000. I mean, that is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I like Brad. I've known Brad a long time. I like him, but I mean, it's sort of like saying, I like former state senator Ed Petka. He was a good state senator, a good conservative. But I mean, the fact that in retirement he has from the state senate, his pension is $236,000. I mean, come on, man, come on.
They know they're ripping us off too.
For a part-time job, for a part-time temporary job, and it's and I mean temporary not in the sense of, I mean it should be temporary, a couple of few terms, and then move on. $236,000 for life. I mean, come on, Senator, right? Yeah. And Judy Irwin, state reps, right behind him at $207,000. Patrick Quinn, for all his years being a gadfly, he's making $170,000. And the other piece of this too, which I know you probably know off the top of your head, but is just like we talked about the superintendents, what they put in for these guaranteed 7-figure pensions they're getting out. I mean, it's pennies on the dollar in terms of return.
Yeah, we're not. They put in money based on their average salaries over time. So they don't. The formulas for pensions are based on when they retire. So this is the really high number. What they put in is based on when they were young workers, and so it's a total disconnect. It's a great return for the pensioners, horrible for taxpayers, of course.
Well, look at Jesse White. I mean, he retired at 88, and his pension is now $260,000 a year, and he stands to collect $1.3 million in retirement.
Yeah, well, 1.3. Yeah, I mean, depending on how long he lives. I mean, obviously he's up there. He waited longer. That was his choice. He was doing quite fine the whole way along. But I mean, these numbers, and then of course the university systems too.
Oh boy, that's.
How
is this all sustainable? I don't get it.
Now I know you have like some doctors and things like that are state employees, but again, it's sort of the same thing. You just can't have hundreds of thousands of people that are making, collectively hundreds of millions of dollars to not work, which is what we have.
Well, and not only that, they get to retire really early. So the big one on the university list is a guy named Konstantin Slavin, and he's again some high-powered surgeon of some kind, and I'm sure from a private sector perspective, maybe that's his value. I don't know, but the problem is that he retired at age 54, and in his current pension is $725,000 a year.
Oh.
And if he lives to be the normal expected lifespan, he will get $30 million in benefits. So, you're asking ordinary Joe Blow, who lives in I don't know, in Carbondale somewhere, to pay taxes to pay for these things, and it's this is why people leave Illinois. I can't afford it, and don't forget we have the most units of government. So whatever we're talking about here gets replicated over and over and over because we have so many units of government.
Right,
and there's so many people like Slavin.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is reverse Robin Hood, but they've done a number. I've written about this. I read about it at johncast.com several months back. They've done a number. They sold everybody on this scheme back when they amended the Constitution in 1970, and and Madigan figured it out. It's not about salaries on the front end. It's about pensions on the back end. The salaries will catch up and the pensions will be gold plated. And that's exactly what's happened. And somehow they've sold the people that are underwriting this at the cost of their home values that, hey, well, you don't want to hate teachers or cops or firefighters or public sector workers. These are all public servants. You don't want to be against the public servants, do you? You want to respect people who work in the public sector. They're sacrificing. They're sacrificing to serve you at the municipal level, at the township level, at the county, at the state level, at your park district, at your K through 12 school system and so forth. They've totally won the marketing war, haven't they?
Well, they have, and I tell you the other angle of that. And that's a huge point what you're making. This is why we're struggling so much to figure out how to handle this problem. But the other big thing was that people don't understand is all this. Pensions were underfunded. Well, the unions love that because the more money that went to salaries, to jack up salaries, who cares about the pension funding? That's constitutionally protected. We'll worry about that later. The more money that went into salaries today, the higher those future pension benefits went. And this is why it's so crazy. And now, of course, they just say, hey, let's find the money, get a bailout, raise taxes. Who cares? We owe this money to pensioners. So it's a huge problem.
Right, and the point you made before, or you've been making for years, actually, is it's the generous nature of the pension benefits, starting with the 3% COLAs that compound for decades when we had sub 3% inflation, but also the defined benefit aspect of it too, that it's guaranteed, as contrasted from defined contribution plans, and that even if you would have funded the pensions on a rolling basis at the levels that you were increasing the benefits, you still couldn't keep up. There's no way to actually fund this without shutting down most of the rest of government.
Yeah, that's what we proved several times, and we should update that. Is that the benefits were growing so fast that and we compared it to the rest of the country, right? So we're in the top 3 for how fast we're doling out benefits, and so taxpayers can't keep up. And this is if you look at our population, I think I can only blame our being so far behind in population growth compared to the other states in the country and even our neighbors is because of this thing right here. It gets too expensive to live here. It eventually impacts jobs. There's not enough good jobs, and and it also covers the corruption that we have here. So you put the too expensive, not enough good jobs, and corruption. Well, guess what? I'm out of here, and that's what we're doing to people. Is we're pushing them out.
Wow, this is like a lot of doom and gloom here.
Well, it's Illinois. It should change its name to Doom and Gloom.
Yeah,
it's more descriptive, or maybe put that on the license plates. Land of
Doom
well,
and gloom.
Well, at some point on some of these things, we're going to have a litmus test of some kind, right? And either
no.
and I'm saying someday, right? Someday.
Yeah.
That you can't continue this. You can't continue. You can't continue without school choice. All those things, it's either going to be this kind of government we have, and let's keep it. We'll keep shrinking and becoming more and more emaciated, or we'll flip all this one day. But that one day is nowhere near right now.
Yeah, this is still a death cult at this juncture. We'll see. Ted Dabrowski, President of WirePoints, wirepoints.org. All things Illinois policy related. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
With over 3 decades of serving up streetwise insight and local perspective on Page 2, the voice of John Cass has a home at johncassnews.com.
I'm John Cass, and for too long, so-called progressives have been ruining our world. They've been stepping on us. They've twisted everything from the schools to the media in the hopes of crushing our liberty. Traditional media, mainstream media, like the paper, and anything else you see on TV, well, they're in on it. And that's why you need to join me at johncassnews.com for your daily cup of Midwestern common sense. Don't be a chump alone. Join me on the new frontier of independent journalism at johncassnews.com, where freedom and liberty still mean something. They mean everything.
Go to johncassnews.com to subscribe for daily access to podcasts and columns from John Cass and others. That's johncassnews.com. Click on subscribe.
What's that, chumbalone? What did he say? Don't be a chumbalone? A what?
Chumbalone.
A chumbalone.
Okay. Yeah. It's like, it's a Greek thing. Don't be a mook.
Oh.
Don't be a jamoke.
Okay. Well, what you got to do is see us. A week from tomorrow is our annual golf outing, one of the best days of the year. And it's going to be at the McRae Golf Club in Barrington, Illinois on June 19th. And we have a few foursomes left. So if you've thought about it, do it today. Get your foursome. Go to 560theanswer.com/golf Proceeds go to Tunnel to Towers. And if you're a business owner and you purchase a foursome and you want to market or get into advertising for the first time, or maybe come back to advertising, we will give you 25 one-minute commercials and a digital marketing package. So you want to do this. Benefits Tunnel to Towers. You know all about them. They help fallen first responders, homeless vets, and it's a great networking opportunity. We'll have 200 attendees, business owners, decision makers, influencers, people who are like-minded and want to support Tunnel to Towers and AM 560. Go to 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf.
BP's Whiting Refinery is hosting a community night on Thursday, June 20th from 3 to 7 p.m. Come learn more about how an oil refinery works, products made, and the people who make it run. There will be food, fire trucks, and STEM activities for kids. It's the Whiting Refinery Community Night, Thursday, June 20th from 3 to 7 at the Mascot Hall of Fame, 1851 Front Street in Whiting.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel. Home to the biggest shows on TV, like Dennis Prager weekdays at noon Eastern, followed by Jay and Jordan Sekulow at 2. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free now on Xumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Xumo.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Tom. Welcome to my garage. I don't need new cars. I like old cars. Old cars remind me of me. I take Balance of Nature. I feel great. Take my word for it. If you want to feel great, take Balance of Nature. You'll never regret it.
Time's ticking. Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last, with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Hurry, this week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combines heritage and innovation in every cup. Our coffee is locally roasted, hot air roasted, and cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Whether you prefer a 12-ounce bag or a 28-ounce bag, or even the convenience of K-Cups, you'll find Papa Nicholas Coffee at your local retailer. Taste the difference that 5 generations of expertise brings. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee, because great coffee is our family tradition. Visit online at papanicholas.com. That's papanicholas.com.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. Ever since the October 7 massacres inflamed the radical left in the U.S., Joe Biden has tried to force Israel into compromises that would force them to allow Hamas to survive the war. This week, NBC News reported that Biden now wants to deal with Hamas directly on American hostages and cut Israel out entirely. This abruptly changes months of avoiding the issue of Hamas's American captives. The media has ignored them, and the Biden administration only refers to them when necessary, usually as leverage against Netanyahu's government in Jerusalem. The timing of this trial balloon seems especially suspicious, given the spectacular success of the IDF's hostage rescue operation this past weekend. Western nations have foolishly dispensed with the best policy, that is, never to negotiate with terrorists. Biden takes it all in a particularly malevolent direction, cutting Israel out of the loop while pushing a two-state solution at the UN. Don't miss the broader message. It rewards Hamas for the October 7 massacres. In a word, it's despicable.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll bring our old friend, former acting director for ICE, Tom Homan, back at 8:08 to talk about Biden's phony border EO and everything else happening at, both our southern and northern borders. Open season on open borders with Tom Homan at 8:08.
And he's going to be in the area at an event. We'll tell you about that as well. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Trial is underway for former Illini basketball player Terrence Shannon Jr. We'll give you an update. Prosecutors want a 10-year prison sentence for former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke. Tim Mapes is set to head to federal prison. The White Sox falter late, while the Cubs are back in action later today. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Will they make Hunter Biden a convicted felon? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The jury will resume deliberations this hour in the case against the president's son, charged with illegally buying a gun in 2018.
Prosecution highlighted the gun salesman who testified he watched Hunter fill out that federal form and check no to a question about being a drug user.
Fox's Rich Edson outside the court in Wilmington, Delaware.
Now, Hunter's defense attorney, Abby Lowell, countered that the prosecution's case depends on a magic trick, relying on evidence of past drug abuse to prove Hunter was using drugs when he bought that gun.
President Biden hosted a concert last night celebrating the Juneteenth holiday a week early, commemorating the end of slavery.
But let's be clear, they're all ghosts in new garments trying to take us back.
Suggesting Republicans are trying to suppress black voting as polls show Biden supports slipping among minority voters considering backing former President Trump this time around. Now, today, the president will return his focus to gun control.
At a speech at Everytown for Gun Safety's gathering here in Washington, President Biden will announce the Justice Department has charged more than 500 defendants for violating new gun trafficking and straw purchase provisions created by the bipartisan Safer Communities Act legislation signed by the president in 2022. The FBI released data this week showing a drop in violent crime for the first quarter of this year.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Former President Trump, who met virtually with a New York probation officer a month before being sentenced in a criminal case he calls a hoax, will sit down with a group of Republican senators in D.C. on Thursday, led by John Barrasso, who tells Fox Business.
Well, when President Trump is reelected, and I believe he will be, we need to be ready to secure the border, ready to deal with high prices, ready to unleash American energy.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken's in Israel his second day, urging Hamas to agree to the ceasefire proposal the UN Security Council approved to stop the war in Gaza and free more hostages. America's listening to Fox News.
.55 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott, longtime chief of staff for former Illinois House Speaker Democrat Michael Madigan, scheduled to report to a federal prison today. Tim Mapes is required to surrender to the Bureau of Prisons before noon. He is requested to serve his term at a facility in Pensacola, Florida. Trial underway for former Illinois basketball player Terrence Shannon Jr. in Douglas County, Kansas. Opening statements expected today. The Chicago native on trial for rape and sexual aggravated battery charges. Former President Barack Obama checking in on the construction of the Obama Presidential Center on Chicago's South Side yesterday.
The hard work, the willingness to be out here when it's freezing cold.
That's right.
You know, the sacrifices all you've made to make this happen is something that I could not be more grateful for and appreciative of.
The complex is expected to open in 2026. Federal prosecutors are calling for a 10-year prison sentence for former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke. Federal jury found Burke guilty last December. He is scheduled to be sentenced on June 24th. White Sox blew a late 4-run lead in an 8-4 loss to the Mariners, while the Cubs take on Tampa Bay tonight. The news, a service of Health Insurance Mentors. Are you 65 or older and thinking about Medicare? Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Call Stephen Tucker today. Visit healthinsurancementors.com or call 630-674-1551. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now, the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
General Motors shares are up 1%. The car maker has authorized buying back $6 billion worth of stock once its existing buyback of $1.1 billion worth of shares is completed. GM is also raising its dividend. Investors were unimpressed with Apple's plan to incorporate artificial intelligence into its newest devices. The stock remains lower this morning, though analysts at D.A. Davidson say new technology may encourage a cascade of new purchases. The new features will require an iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max. You'll be able to have a television or couch delivered the same day from BJ's Wholesale Club. The big box store is expanding same-day delivery to big, expensive items in some areas. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
AM 560 news time, 8:05. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
We ask a lot from our dads.
Dad, can you read me a story? Dad, come watch me play soccer. Hey, Dad, I need help with my homework.
And they do a lot for us. Wouldn't it be great to give something special back to your dad this Father's Day? Well, our friends at Woodland Windows and Doors want to help you do just that. When you enter to win $500 in cash for Dad, just go to 560theanswer.com/dad to enter between now and June 14th. That's 560theanswer.com/dad. Presented by Woodland Windows and Doors.
Wealth Health Radio. The biggest fears that people have is, do I have enough money to retire? Retirement doesn't have to be complicated. To make sure that you're going through retirement with confidence. Learn principles of income planning. There's a lot of different facets that you need to take into consideration when you're retiring. Tune into Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy, noon to 1 p.m. Sundays on AM 560, The Answer.
Let me ask you this. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? Well, this is the best time for being outdoors, but not if your knees, shoulders, back, or hips are hurting. Hey, it's Amy Jacobson, and don't suffer any longer. Non-surgical joint pain relief is here from our good friends at QC Kinetics. Call them today. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Walk, run, hike, play golf, move again pain-free. So stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. They're open on Saturdays, now with new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955.
8:07. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Quick Delivery Service. Visit quickdelivery.com when you need same-day delivery of your routes. Ground delivery when you need it from safe, licensed pros. Go to quickdelivery.com now to schedule your delivery. Kennedy at an hour 6, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike outbound, the exit ramp still blocked. Again, outbound 290, the off-ramp to 25th remains shut down with a bad accident there. Dan Ryan inbound, jammed up 43rd to the Stevenson. Again on the inbound side, 25 minutes in from 95th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Terrific day, partly sunny, high today at 77. Clouds, a shower tonight, low 63. Partly sunny, warm day tomorrow, the high 88. A strong thunderstorm on Thursday, could get some hail and damaging wind, the high 89. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
55 at O'Hare, next news 8:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. As we talked about yesterday and again earlier in the program today, the layers of duplicity with respect to the Biden administration's border policy are many layers. First, the phony EO that is issued at the same time as we find out from Washington Examiner that the San Diego sector Border Patrol gets a memo saying basically designate all Eastern Hemisphere migrants as very difficult to detain and process them through into the country, minus 6 countries, Russia and some of Russia's satellites. So that leaves another 95 countries or so. Basically, just let them in. And Matt Finn from Fox News was at the border recounting this yesterday, this duplicity, and also had the chance to talk to some of those crossing the border illegally, including a Turkish gentleman who tells us that really the relationship between Biden and illegal immigrants is a love story.
Meaning all the migrants we are seeing in real time coming from China, Egypt, countries in Africa, they are being released. The internal memo reads in part, Border Patrol agents are ordered to refer to ICE single adults from hard or very hard to remove countries. Those are the 6. All other migrants are processed and released with a notice to appear on their own recognizance. And we've been talking to migrants from all over the world arriving here into the San Diego sector. I talked to one man from Turkey. Here's what he had to say. What do you think of President Biden?
Biden, I love Biden.
Why do you love Biden?
Because Biden, we love.
Why do you love him?
Biden help us.
What's not to love?
I know.
Tom Homans, former acting director of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He joins us now. Tom, what's not to love?
It's just when you think it can't get worse, it gets worse. I mean, what else can this administration do to destroy this country? Look, you are exactly right. This EO was put out just to try to put some smoke and mirrors up because the election is 6 months away and immigration is a major issue. And he knows it, but there's no substance to it. As a matter of fact, they're saying they're going to release all these people to ICE. Right now, I know for a fact, ICE is $300 million in the hole. DHS just told ICE yesterday they can't reprogram money by more beds. This is their plan. They say they're going to turn these people to ICE, knowing ICE has no detention beds to put these people in, which means they'll be released. That is the truth behind this crap that the administration is putting out.
And Mayorkas was on the Sunday Talkies this week, and on Sunday, and said, we thought, when he said in March of 21 that this is what we do, we know how to do it, and we're going to do it, and it didn't get done. Well, it turns out that migration is a global issue, so it's not really his fault, and they're under-resourced, and that bipartisan legislation that stalled in the Senate, that would have been a real difference maker because they'd have the resources they need, and then they'd get about doing what they know how to do, according to Secretary Mayorkas.
Well, first of all, where was the global migration under Trump? Right? So we didn't need Congress under Trump. Trump wrote executive orders, and we secured the border at the highest level in the history of this nation. Illegal immigration at a 45-year low. And the shameful thing is Mayorkas knows how to fix this. Because in 2004 and 2015, when he was deputy secretary under Jay Johnson and Obama was president and Joe Biden was vice president, we had a family surge at the border. He knows how we stopped it. We detained them in family residential centers. We held them long enough to see a judge. 9 out of 10 lose their case. They simply don't qualify for asylum. We put them on an airplane. We sent them home, and guess what? The border numbers tanked. He knows how to fix it, but he's doing the complete opposite what he knows worked for him when he was deputy secretary. Because they're not detaining him, they're not seeing a judge, and he told ICE, you can't remove somebody from the United States for simply being illegally in the United States. So if his lips were moving, he was lying as usual. He knows how to fix it. He's refusing to fix it.
Well, is anybody coming to their asylum hearings? I mean, would
just
show up at a certain
short of half.
Pardon?
Here's the problem: just about half of them will show up at the initial court appearance. But here's what the facts are. You look at the Homeland Security Life Cycle Report, the Secretary's very own report. It says this: that out of all those that claim asylum, 87.6% will fail and get an order removal because they don't show up or they don't qualify. But the Homeland Security Life Cycle Report says out of all of those, at 9 out of 10 that get order removed, how many leave? 6%. 6% because they're not being detained. The same report says if they were detained, that 9 out of 10 in an ICE facility, they're removed 99.7% of the time. That's why they're not detaining them. They have the same data points I have. They know 9 out of 10 will lose and get order removal. But if they're not detention, they'll never leave. This is what this administration is doing. They're overwhelming the system. We have millions of people with final orders that we can't possibly remove, and they'll wait around long enough for the next amnesty. Now Biden's already talking about an amnesty for illegal alien spouses of U.S. citizens. So this is their plan. They're going to overwhelm the system so there's no fixing it. But I got news for them. In January of 2025, we're going to fix it.
Yeah, that parole in place for illegal immigrant spouses of U.S. citizens. That number is guesstimated at about 1.1 million. So
way to buy votes.
That's another million. And by the way, a comment on that, but and then also too with the whole executive order and the 1,500 a day average, blah blah blah. The administration, Biden administration, is admitting more than 1,500 a day via ports of entry using the CBP1 app, and 30,000 a month using parole processes for nationals from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela as well. So, I mean, all of this, you can make some sort of statement that he made, and then there's all these carve-outs and exceptions that is, take getting through the back door, what you don't want to see people come through the front door.
You're exactly right. That's a good point. Excellent point. And here's the truth. I get the daily numbers every day from my sources. We're over 5,000 illegal entries a day right now. Where's that action taking place? How come they haven't shut the borders down yet? And even if they did enforce it and only allow 2,500 a day, that's short of just 1 million a year. Now you got over 1 million showing up at the port of entries on the CBP app a year. Then you got hundreds of thousands flowing in through, like you said, the CHNV program. So are we okay with 2 million illegal entries a year? I'm not. Instead of 2,500, why isn't it 1? Why isn't border security, national security, and we're going to shut the border down at 1, not 2,500. It's ridiculous. Again, smoke and mirrors. They have no intent of shutting this border down because they know how to do it. Turn on the Trump policy. The Supreme Court said Remain in Mexico program was a legal, viable tool. Why not put that in place? People are still playing aside and wait in Mexico. That was a game changer for the Trump administration. They won't even consider it. And as far as Alejandro Mayorkas saying the Senate bill would have helped, what would have helped? H.R. 2, which was passed by the House, and Chuck Schumer and the Senate won't even bring it up. The White House won't even talk about it. Why? Because it will work. How do I know it will work? Because we proved it worked. A lot of the H.R. 2 is a Trump policy. So they're not trying to fix the border. They know how to fix it. This is just, again, smoke and mirrors.
And you think, what do you think? Why do you think they want all these illegals here? What's the bottom line?
Well, two reasons. They perceive a future political advantage. It's obvious. There's no other reason to do it. So they think most of you people will be future Democratic voters. But here's what I'll say. They don't have to vote because Biden also overturned the Trump census rule, which millions of illegal aliens in sanctuary cities will be counted in the next census. Mm-hmm. So they reproportionate seats in the House. It means more seats in the House for the Dems. They're selling this country out for future political power. There's no other reason to open a border up like this.
Right, and you have this was reported too. A company called Guasur Insurance is apparently registering illegal immigrants for Obamacare, basically too. So I mean, it's just sort of the same thing you see with the sanctuary jurisdictions, which is they get people who have come into the country illegally on the government dole, so they're state dependents and thus loyalists to big government.
Well, the scariest thing to me beyond all of this, not only the cost of American taxpayers, but we got over 30,000 Chinese nationals have entered this country since October.
Yeah.
30,000 military-age males, and no one's doing anything about it. The White House hasn't talked to China about it. They're not trying to get it. There's no way 30,000 Chinese nationals left the country of China without the involvement of the Chinese government. There's no way they would allow that to happen. And nothing's being done. At what point is our national security worth? Even it should be a nonpartisan issue, national security. God help us what this administration is doing.
Well, and to make matters worse, the illegals that are here that commit crimes that are still here. I mean, I don't know if you saw NBC News or if you watch it, but last night they introduced people to the Tren de Aragua gang, the Venezuelan gang. We've been talking about them for a year, and they acted like this is some new thing because, those two Venezuelans, or the few Venezuelans that shot at police officers in New York City.
And guess what? Those people were arrested, put in proceedings, and DHS dropped the proceedings before that happened. They decided, you know what, these people aren't worth prosecuting. They're not worth taking immigration court. We'll drop their asylum claims. We'll let them just remain in the United States illegally. So they weren't even in proceedings. They were just floating around with no status, no scheduled asylum interview, because DHS decided in prosecutorial discretion, let's just release them and drop the case. They've done that for over 350,000 cases this year. Wow. Think about that. They're just saying, no, drop the case because we know 9 out of 10 will get order removal. We don't want that.
So Trump is talking on the stump at rallies and so forth about mass deportations if he is elected in November, takes office in January. I mean, so then comes the practical work. What is realistic from, your position as a practitioner and an expert with respect to the system? What is practically possible over what period of time to remove people in this country illegally or adjudicate their cases, and depending on obviously the adjudication of the case, remove them. But what if any prioritization should there be?
Well, there should be prioritization. The same thing we did in the prior Trump administration. You have to prioritize national security threats and public safety threats first. That just makes sense.
Yep.
But under the Trump administration, no one's off the table. Now, how many can we remove? That's going to depend on Congress. I mean, how many resources are we going to have? How much money we have in TRP, which is transportation contracts? How much money we going to have for air flights? How much money we going to have for overground transportation? How much money we going to have for ICE beds? Can we contract with local jails and rent their beds? What is Congress going to fund? How many agents will we have? Can we bring back retired Border Patrol agents, ICE agents to help? Can we have task forces with local police and U.S. Marshals and others? Can the military step up to help us with transportation, not arrest people, but help us with transportation, help us with building the infrastructure, soft-sided facilities, not camps like the left wants to push, but facilities that have, detention standards that take care of these people while they're waiting for the travel documents. What is Congress going to give us resources? What is the Secretary of Homeland Security willing to do on reprogramming money? It all depends on the resources we have. I'll say this, in the next Trump administration, no one's off the table. If you're in the United States illegally, you better be looking over your shoulder, because it's not okay to enter this country illegally, which is a crime. It's not okay to ignore federal judges' orders for deportation. It's not okay. For the same reason you and I don't go 150 mile an hour down a freeway, we may get arrested. And why we don't line our taxes. We may go in prison with tax evasion. It's not okay to violate laws of this country, ignore a judge's order, and feel safe. You shouldn't be comfortable. You should be looking over your shoulder.
And do you have any concerns about and this would obviously be a presidential responsibility, but the excuse that's used of countries won't take their people back. Well, we're going to have to impress upon them that they're going to need to take their people back, but that would be a job for President Trump in this scenario.
President Trump proved he did that. He did that when I was ICE director. El Salvador went to take MS-13 gang members back. The president made a phone call, says, you will take them back, or I'll pull every dollar of international aid away from you. And within 48 hours, El Salvador took them all. So we need a president with a backbone that says, no, you're going to take it. If not, there's going to be consequences. And there's always a third safe country agreement. I remember we have illegal aliens that the country don't exist anymore because of what changed in Europe from the time they entered. So we find another safe third country that's willing to accept it. That's also an option. But we need a strong president that's not going to take this crap from these nations. And if so, take their money away. That's what he did. He didn't give the money like this administration do, trying to buy him. He says, no, I'm not paying you $1. I'll take money away. And that made him come to the table, just like Mexico. You will do the Remain in Mexico program, military in the southern northern border, and if you don't, I want to tariff you in billions of dollars. It took them about 72 hours to agree to take the Remain in Mexico program. We need a strong president that puts America first.
Tom Homan, former acting director of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Tom, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
And we should mention that Tom and others are going to be at 115 Bourbon Street tomorrow night from 6 to 9:30. The event's called Every State is a Border State. And Again, $20 at the door, and you get a free buffet. So again, that is tomorrow from 6 to 9:30 at Bourbon Street. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Gold and silver are at world record highs. The time to sell is now. PGS Gold and Coin is Chicagoland's #1 valuables dealer, specializing in rare coins and precious metals. PGS Gold and Coin Springtime Clean Out Buying Event. Grandma's jewelry box could be worth thousands. Mom's sterling silver flatware and tea sets could be worth thousands. Dad's coin collection could be worth thousands. Do not miss this opportunity. Gold and silver are at all-time highs. PGS Gold and Coin, Chicagoland's valuables expert with 45 years experience. PGS Gold and Coin is an A+ Better Business Bureau accredited business with thousands of 5-star reviews. 4 locations in Palatine, Schaumburg, Wheaton, and Villa Park. Now is the time to get the most money for your precious metals. Call PGS Gold and Coin today. 888-416-2701. That's 888-416-2701. Or visit them online at pgsgoldandcoin.com. Mention you heard this ad on AM 560 and get a free evaluation. pgsgoldandcoin.com.
PGS. When it comes to your valuables, they're the best.
Thanks for not telling Tom Homan that I go 150 miles down the expressway.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been bad. He would have, chastised me. Also, I got this from Cask, since you wanted to know what a chumbolone is.
Yes.
He said chumbolone is not a Greek thing. I know it's an Italian word. I mean, it's a Greek thing, like it's a caste thing. But anyway, I didn't know this, though. You want to know the history of the word?
Yes.
I thought you might.
No, I actually do.
Well, it means, like a clown, chumbolone clown.
How do you spell that?
CHUMBOLONE.
Okay.
Yeah.
The word of the day is chumbolone.
First popularized by corrupt Chicago cop Anthony Twan Doyle. Is that right? From the federal witness stand in Operation Family Secrets. I did not know that. That's where chumbolone was popularized by a corrupt Chicago cop. Okay. It's good to know. Maybe we need to do a Chicago history, in-depth history with Chicago with John Cass. If you're feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have more than a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients with stable T levels, they also offer convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month, so you don't need to go to the office for weekly visits. And at Low T Center, your BMI and health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So get back to your best and tell them Dan Proft sent you when you do. When you do, go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today, that is. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word HEDGE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and there are thousands of rave reviews to prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text HEDGE to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, HEDGE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
All right. As you bust out your grill and get your patio ready for summer barbecues, remember that hot dogs, brats, burgers, beer do not provide the fruits and vegetables your body desperately needs every day to stay healthy and energized. That's why I've been taking Balance of Nature for nearly a decade. It's so easy to open up the individual capsules and dust them over my salad or mix them into my juice drinks. That's how I do it. And thousands of AM 560 listeners love their Balance of Nature, and you will too. 6 capsules a day provides your body, your heart, and your mind with over 10 servings of 31 different fruits and vegetables. You'll love it, and your body, mind, and heart will thank you for it. So order your bottles of fruits and veggies today. 800-246-8751. 800-246-8751. Use coupon code Chicago to save 35% off your first order and free shipping as a preferred customer. 800-246-8751. Call now or order online at balanceofnature.com. Use coupon code Chicago. Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
4 years after COVID, cancel culture returns, 8:38.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
It's 8:30 on AM 560, The Answer. Sunshine. Malawi's vice president and 9 others have been killed in a plane crash. The country's president saying today that a military plane that was carrying top government officials, including the vice president, was located in a mountainous area in the north of that country. Chinese police say a suspect is in custody in a stabbing attack on 4 instructors from Iowa's Cornell College from the small town of Mount Vernon, Iowa. They were teaching at a Chinese university in the northeast city of Jilin. The UN Security Council is approving a U.S.-drafted ceasefire deal aimed at stopping the fighting between Israel and Hamas. That plan has the backing of Secretary of State Antony Blinken.
Always to bring Americans home, and because of that, the most effective way to do that, to achieve that, to actually get them home, is through the proposal that's on the table. So let's see if we get an answer from Hamas.
Hamas has yet to respond to that deal. UAW President Shawn Fain under investigation for allegations that he abused his power as union president. It comes in court filings from Monday. The longtime chief of staff for former Illinois House Speaker, Democrat Michael Madigan, scheduled to report to a federal prison today. Tim Mapes is required to surrender to the Bureau of Prisons before noon. Trial underway for former Illinois basketball player Terrence Shannon Jr. in Douglas County, Kansas. Opening statements expected today. The Chicago native is on trial on rape and sexual aggravated battery charges. Illinois gun owners continue to await relief from the state's gun and magazine ban as the U.S. Supreme Court again refrained from announcing whether they'll take up legal challenges. AM 560's Greg Bishop has more from Springfield.
Justices held conference Thursday to discuss requests of the order list. Cases challenging Illinois' gun ban on preliminary grounds were not included, meaning they could come up again in another conference this Thursday with a new order list June 17th. Meanwhile, in the Southern District of Illinois Federal Court, Attorney Thomas Magg says litigants continue preparation for a bench trial set for September 16th.
I think the Supreme Court has a good chance of taking it, and I think there's a good chance that if it does, we won't go to trial in September, although we've got to prepare for it as though we are until we know otherwise.
Despite a flurry of lawsuits in federal court, no definitive rulings on the merits have been issued. I'm Greg Bishop.
Illinois banned the sale and possession of certain semi-automatic firearms and magazines over certain capacities in January 2023. White Sox blew a 4-run lead late in an 8-4 loss to the Mariners. Cubs take on Tampa Bay tonight. The second oldest player in the NFL is inking a new contract. Veteran tight end Mercedes Lewis, set to enter his 19th NFL season, has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Bears. The news is a service of Windy City Safes. What are you doing to keep your most prized possessions safe? Windy City Safes is Chicagoland's only Liberty Safe dealer. With Liberty Safes, you're not just getting a safe, you're getting peace of mind. Visit the Niles showroom, call 224-LOCKBOX, or online, windycitysafes.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains the issue with the next generation.
Just having to listen to an opinion they don't agree with is considered an act of, quote, violence, unquote. That's right. That's That's exactly what they speech is violence. This is what happens when no one ever loses and everyone gets a prize.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements. Changing the world, one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Tom. Welcome to my garage. I don't need new cars. In fact, I like old cars. Old cars remind me of me. I take Balance of Nature. I feel great. Take my word for it. If you want to feel great, take Balance of Nature. You'll never regret it.
Time's ticking. Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last, with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Hurry, this week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this offer by using discount code Chicago.
The doctor's office that mixed up your files has your Social Security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info and last 3 addresses. Your info is in endless places that could accidentally expose your info to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Go with your gut. Your dog's immune system is based in the gut. A diet lacking in nutrients can cause itching, scratching, and a weak immune system. However, there is a solution. DINOVITE. Dinovite.
It took a grand total of 2 weeks. The dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Try Dinovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy. Sundays, noon to 1. Learn more online at mwmfinancial.tax.
8:36. Check the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And it's an update, and this update is a service of Audible. If you're heading out, soak up the sun with stories on Audible. Get inspired with the best selection of audiobooks, plus podcasts and originals. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com. Inbound Kennedy at hour 10. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound Kennedy, stalled semi reported. It's stuck between the Circle and Fullerton, and it's 55 and climbing as you're heading outbound from downtown to O'Hare. Part of an accident, by the way, outbound at Foster as well. On the Ike, they're still trying to pull that accident out of your way. On the outbound side, as you're traveling out to Manheim, the accident is on the off-ramp to 25th Avenue. A couple of cars are off the roadway. One rolled over in the bushes. And again, emergency equipment on that scene. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny and pleasant. A high of 77 today. Mostly cloudy, maybe a shower overnight. Lows 63. And even warmer tomorrow. High 88. Mostly sunny and 60 right now. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You want a fun COVID flashback clip?
Oh, please. It's not me being a crazy COVID.
No, but
Thank
it was people acting like you did in March of 2020.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. This is out of Memphis. I mean, the images really help, but you'll get the gist of it from the narration.
and don't nobody want their child to be sick, and don't nobody want to take that virus to their house.
Parents with children at Treadwell Middle and elementary schools are not playing around. Many wiped their kids down, and some even sprayed them with disinfectant spray as they took them home Monday.
And I wiped my children's backpack down when I got them out of school. Sure did. Gave them gloves. Sure did.
Parents are doing this after they found out an employee who works at Treadwell Middle and Elementary came in contact with a person who tested positive for the coronavirus in Memphis. Some took more extreme measures.
2 garbage bags. My shoes came loose. 2 sacks. Another sack.
She was completely covered in garbage bags from head to toe.
Who would do that?
And you look like the keyboardist from Prince and the Revolution for most of the spring of 2020. I remember. Yeah.
I wore double gloves, and then I would hand sanitize the gloves.
Yeah, and we had to have the salad spit guard up here, salad bar spit guard, and wiping down everything. You might as well have sprayed me with disinfectant. You were just as bad.
Oh, I was.
Don't take a haughty attitude.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm laughing at
yeah.
myself. But then, thank God, I went to
Yes.
Utah and calmed down because
Yeah.
I was with people who were reasonable, and their governor was reasonable.
Well-
Didn't scare people on a daily basis.
The fear that was engendered, of course, led to the authoritarian policies that followed, and that was the problem. It was funny, and it was fine if people wanted to, double bag it, as it were, but it stopped being funny when it was the predicate for the sort of lockdowns and government overreach that ultimately came.
Yeah, and here's a flashback of when I was insane. I was at O'Hare last night in the international terminal, and you would be surprised at how many people have masks on and gloves. I had 2 pairs of gloves on. I had a mask. I was
2 pairs.
2, yeah, because one's not enough.
Like the
Well, I just
latex
got-
gloves you're wearing now.
Well, I ran out of the box that our HR director gave me here, and there's some in the medicine cabinet. If you ever need to know, if you want some gloves.
Memories, like the corners of my mind.
So bad.
Misty watercolored memories of the way we were when we were free. Pre-COVID.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Interesting op-ed from our friend Gary Paul Gary Paul Morson, who is the Slavic Lit professor at Northwestern, and talking about the Israeli conflict. And there's a connect here, the war against Hamas terrorists there. I won't get too into it, but it's an interesting piece where he sort of gives 2 very different versions of a man's ethical responsibility to man, one from Tolstoy as sort of illustrated in Anna Karenina, and the other from Dostoevsky. But his concluding line, after he distills sort of the 2 schools of thought on the ethical responsibility to the other. Regardless of what policy one favors on a given occasion, it should be clear that the shouting of slogans, some of which call for indiscriminate killing, is itself an immoral approach to complex moral problems. Interesting. Because who do we have shouting slogans now? So for example, the anti-Israeli mob chanting "Long live Intifada" with flares lit outside NYC exhibit that memorializes October 7th victims. Is that a good example of what Gary Paul Morson is talking about? I think it is. For more on the topic and the connection, we're pleased to be joined by Janine Eunice. She's a civil liberties attorney and writer. She has co-authored a piece called 4 Years After COVID, Cancel Culture Returns. Janine, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So I know you decided to make quarter with some of us on the right briefly during COVID. I think we talked about it at the time. And you feel like maybe there's a need to do so again in this moment with respect to some of the protesters like I described?
You may have misread the piece.
Really?
My thesis is that it's actually the right or I should say our thesis, because Leighton co-authored it with me, Leighton Woodhouse, The thesis is that it's the right now who's using sort of cancel culture tactics as well as legal tactics to silence speech they don't like.
Well, I saw the piece about, I saw the part about Senator Hawley and DeSantis, but I mean, we can get to that, but maybe I did misread it, I guess, because it seemed to be a recognition of the sort of intolerance of anybody who takes Israel should respond to the terrorist attack that happened on October 7th, and you shouldn't be shouted down. I mean, Democrat politicians are being shouted down. So by pro-Palestinian protesters. So I mean, that's not a representation of cancel culture?
Well, I'd say there's a lot of it happening on the other side as well. I mean, it's not just people like DeSantis who are actually instituting laws or policies to try to silence pro-Palestine debate, but there's also quite a lot of use of the same kind of tactics that we've seen during COVID and other situations where there's a utilization of sort of safety culture, hate speech, people's feelings being hurt. Of course, there are time, place, and manner restrictions to speech, so shouting down speakers is rarely appropriate, if ever. But I don't think it's only happening on one side.
Wait a minute. How is Governor DeSantis trying to stop anti-Israel rhetoric? I mean, he doesn't want encampments because they're not legal.
Well, he disbanded Students for Justice in Palestine in the fall. So that's a pretty clear First Amendment violation, since student groups have a First Amendment right to assemble.
Yeah, there are some instances. There was legislation passed by House Republicans that I opposed as well that would to limit language that is offensive and ignorant, but it's not unconstitutional, certainly. So I agree with that, but there's a distinction to be made with respect to some of these campus groups, like Students for Justice in Palestine, which is the nature of the organization. These are not sort of organic student groups on college campuses necessarily. Some have ties and get funding from sources that are problematic, frankly, and so it's a little bit different. It's just to go after a particular student group for a particular reason. Yes, it is.
I was actually in Students for Justice in Palestine. I am half Palestinian, by the way. I think you probably misread my piece in a significant way. If there are ties of various student groups, which I haven't seen any evidence of, or certainly convincing evidence of, then that's a separate issue and can be dealt with on its own. You don't shut down the entire group or chapter because there's an allegation or some whatever ties to some group. I mean, it presumably could be considered material support for terrorism or something like that. So there are laws to deal with that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And that's the basis on which it should be. I didn't misread your piece. That's the basis on which it should be investigated. I'm not supporting what Josh Hawley did. I'm not necessarily supporting what Ron DeSantis did. I'm just saying there are distinctions to be drawn when it comes to some of these student groups and their associations and their funding sources. And there's been a lot of actual investigative journalism about this and some of the foundations and the individuals that fund some of these groups and how money flows. And it's not always a direct link in terms of the money flow. So these are areas of legitimate inquiry and potentially decision making that isn't rooted in speech but conduct.
Yeah, that's a different thing, and I've made that point many times that harassment, it's people who violate time, place, or manner restrictions, like shouting down a speaker in any context, those should be punished on their own terms rather than getting at the speech in question. I mean, the speech is protected, but misconduct is not, and it should be dealt with by campus administrators or wherever it occurs.
But with respect to the thuggishness that you would characterize COVIDian politicians as exhibiting, I mean, yes, using color of law to punish unpopular views is thuggish, but the actual conduct of many of these model Hamas protesters on college campuses around the country, and not just on college campuses, on the streets as well, is certainly not something that is First Amendment protected. clashing with police and so forth.
Yeah, well, that's happened on both sides as well. The UCLA campus was actually the pro-Israel protesters were the ones who reacted violently. So I don't think this is happening on just one side. There's certainly some, I'm not going to stick up for all of the conduct of all of the protesters. It would be odd if I agreed with all of them, given that there are tens of thousands or whatever. There's certainly been some misbehavior and conduct that I don't endorse in any way, but I also think that has been used to silence speech, and I think that's a problem.
I mean, first of all, the silent speech, these protesters are everywhere all the time.
They're blocking traffic. We can't get to O'Hare. They shut down Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's
also
terrible.
That's also illegal.
Blocking traffic is not only illegal, but deadly. I mean, that's
Right.
not excusable at all. There are people who need to get to the hospital. There are people who need to pick their kids up from school. I don't endorse those tactics at all in any way.
Well,
who's funding it, though?
But that's what. Well, hold on a second, funny. What I'm saying is the order of magnitude. I think you have completely skewed. Yes, there are instances of bad legislative gambits by the House Republicans, maybe by DeSantis on campus, and there are instances of whatever conflict initiated by a Jewish student at UCLA, perhaps. But the order of magnitude, I mean, is so decidedly from the anti-Semitic crowd or the anti-Zionist crowd, if there's such a distinction, and I don't really think there is. But I mean, the order of magnitude is the issue.
Well, first of all, there's a significant distinction between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. I mean, you can oppose, I don't even know how you define Zionism. Is it the idea that Jews, dozens at least, I know hundreds probably.
So do I.
So
but,
I think
but anyway, go ahead.
Those two terms is not fair. I actually forgot where we started.
The order of magnitude issue.
Well, I don't know. There are lots of protesters. I myself, am happy to see people protesting genocide. I think it's great that people are coming out and spending their time doing that. Palestinians are also human beings, and slaughtering them en masse is a cause that's worthy of being protested, in my opinion.
So you think that Israel is engaged in indiscriminate killing? You think they're committing genocide against the Palestinians?
Absolutely, I do. I think there's very clear evidence of that. They have shown no restraint. They've repeatedly bombed safe areas. They've been explicit about the use of starvation and withholding of aid from Palestinians, which is using that tactic against the civilian population is a violation of international law. I think that there's no question.
Well, how do you feel about Hamas? And then at some of these protests, when they shut down O'Hare Airport, there was a person waving the Hamas flag.
I would hope it goes without saying, I'm not a fan of Hamas. I don't endorse violence against civilians on any side. I think it's absolutely abhorrent. I condemn October 7th in the strongest possible terms, but I also don't think that taking revenge on a civilian population is acceptable, and I understand that. And I agree that Israel should absolutely go after the people who participated in the attacks that took place on October 7th. They have not only a right but an obligation to do so, but I do not approve of the tactics that have been used, which I think have been reflective of more of a vengeful motive than an interest in getting at the terrorists themselves.
And just with respect to groups that propose hatred, killing of other people. I mean, I just want to make sure that there's intellectual consistency here. So, if there was a Aryan Nation campus group at Northwestern, you would defend their right to be on campus and espouse their views.
Absolutely. I mean, one would hope that colleges sort of weed out people who are of the Aryan Nation type or any bigoted people in the admissions process. I think that's how you deal with something like that. But once you've let people in, if your campus code of conduct allows for that type of speech, then you have to allow it on every side. And I'll go even further. I am half Palestinian, and I've stood up many times for the right of people to say, kill all the Palestinians. I have no problem with, I have a problem with the content of the speech, but I would never use the law or any other mechanism to try to silence it. They have a right to say it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Janine Younes, she is a civil liberties attorney and writer. You can check out her piece that was posted at Lee Fang's Substack, right? Yeah, leefang.com.
Yep, that's right.
4 years after COVID,
Thank you for having me.
cancel culture returns is the piece. Thank you, Janine. Appreciate it.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
All right, listen up. If you have chronic pain in your knees, your elbow, your shoulder, your hip, your back due to arthritis or an injury, and you don't want to get surgery, well, guess what? There's QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, a non-surgical joint pain relief, is here. Call them today. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. We're talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue so you can walk and run, hike and play golf, play paddle, pickleball with Dan Proft, and you can move again pain-free. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of former orthopedic surgeon Dr. Mitchell Shinecup. He's a true pioneer in regenerative medicine. Now, their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility. Elite athletes use this as well. So stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again, pain-free. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. They're open on Saturdays, now with new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
For anyone with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight, and you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbors' dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
AM 560, The Answer.
Sorry, we don't have time for calls on Janine Eunice, but I mean, the whole both sides thing that she does, the false moral equivalence. She's a sentimentalist, which is why she just was with us briefly during COVID, and she has gone back to the left, clearly.
All right. Thanks so much for making us part of your morning, part of your lives. Thanks to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. Back here bright and early at 5 a.m. tomorrow. Now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Prosecutors call for a 10-year prison sentence for Ed Burke. Tim Mapes is headed to federal prison, and the White Sox falter late. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.
Hunter Biden has left the courthouse. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. While the jury is behind closed doors a second day, considering whether the president's son is guilty of 3 federal gun charges.
The deliberations were about an hour and a half, an hour and 10 minutes yesterday. The prosecution says there's overwhelming evidence that in October 2018, Hunter was a drug user, lied about it on a federal form to buy a gun, and then illegally possessed that weapon for 11 days.
Fox's Rich Edson outside the court near a chanting protester in Wilmington, Delaware. Hunter Biden's defense says there's no proof he was using illegal drugs at the time he bought that gun. His father celebrated Juneteenth last night, a week early, the holiday commemorating the end of slavery. President Biden also warned about Republicans as old ghosts in new garments.
Taking away your freedoms, making it harder for black people to vote or have your vote counted. Closing doors of opportunity.
Today, the president will address a gun safety group touting a crackdown on gun trafficking.